excellent connection. I know there is, but let me just go live. Thanks very much. We are going live. We are on the way. We have an audience. The audience can be managed. Hello, audience. How's things? It is almost 2 o'clock. Oh, God, I'm very close to being on time today. One of these days I'll actually go live at 2 o'clock and not 2 minutes to 2, which would be pretty good. But thank you very much for joining again today, and welcome to the Sunday service. It is Sunday 2 p.m. and it's a bit dreary today. It's been blue sky for the last couple of days and snow and frost and things, and now it's just kind of cloudy and grey. Hopefully everybody can hear me. The audio levels look okay. Everything seems to be alright. And I'm also joining on TikTok. So whether you're on TikTok or you're on YouTube, you will be able to hear the Sunday service stream today. Today's topic has generated an awful lot of interest from all over the place. I suspect there'll be a number of dealerships and things after coming into the chat very quickly to have their say. And I really actually want to hear your say on this, because very quietly and gently over the last few weeks, the detail behind the Brexit events have happened, and of course then that affects imports into the country and how you can import vehicles into the country. No matter what the vehicle is, it has been affected by this. And I did a couple of tweets last night, and a few people got very hot under the collar very quickly about those tweets, because we're changing how we buy cars and what we're kind of doing here in the morning. And at the same time, we're not only changing how we're buying cars, we're also changing how we're importing cars, we're changing new cars, we're changing absolutely everything at the moment. So it's kind of crazy at the moment. So what I want is your opinion, and particularly if you work in a dealership, and particularly if you work in an import type dealership, maybe you only exclusively sell used cars, and that could be it. So it's kind of a weird one to see where that's going to go, because the used car market is a very strange little market out there, isn't it, really? But it's been a weird week so far. This week has been very eventful for me for some strange reason. And hopefully next week will be just as eventful, because I'll have some more press cars, because everything is closed. So I'm hoping we can get some press cars going as well. And we'll see if we can get a few more reviews up. Currently I have the Yaris GR, the press version of it, which is the luxury pack one instead of being the circuit pack one. And the luxury pack one is kind of cool. I have to say it's a really good car. It's completely impractical and it's way overpriced, but that's more to do with taxes in this country than the actual price of the car, which is kind of cool. There's 107 of you on TikTok. There's now 107 of you on YouTube as well, which is quite hard to manage. But I will be answering questions on YouTube for anybody who's here. Paul O'Connor's already been here. How you, Paul? Flavonite Disciple. Afternoon, everybody. I see Mitsubishi leaving the Irish market. Great. Galant was a Farb car. It was. They're not just leaving Ireland. They're leaving Europe. So they're finished. Essentially, Mitsubishi has been done. They went into a sort of an alliance thing with Renault and Nissan recently, and of course they got a little bit of egg in their face there, because that's Carlos Ghosn event took away from that alliance and did it very, very quickly. So when Mitsubishi gone, it does leave a kind of a hole in the market there, because there was a point of the market that Mitsubishi filled that no one else was doing at the time. Particularly with their PHEV, which is well ahead of its schedule. And of course we're missing out on things, not just Galant, there's other cars they made over the years that were brilliant. The Colt was hugely popular here, as was the Lancer and a few other cars. There's a number of cars that they had over the years, and if you look at the Evo range of things, they set the world on fire and started a competition with Subaru with their WRX offering. So it's huge, absolutely enormous stuff that Mitsubishi being gone from the market is going to change everything now. We'll see who else goes. I know I don't want to be saying who's the next Nokia out there, but I think at this stage we are looking at another car company that will be hitting the bricks soon, because the market's getting very, very weird, very strange entirely. It's down 25% overall globally last year, which is huge. That's enormous. Globally, that's enormous. This year is starting to look a bit more hopeful. A couple of dealerships have been in touch with me to say that they're actually setting off at a good start this year, strangely. But remember, we are in lockdown. You're not supposed to be bringing customers to your dealership to pick up the cars. Just warn you, don't care whether you do it or not, it's up to you, but you shouldn't be doing that. It is a blue snowball. You see there, Gavin Murphy, yeah. Graham says, I was wondering, do you know that weight added a category license for alternatively propelled vehicles for the sole transport of goods? Is this to cover new electric commercial vehicles? Don't think there's any extra weight added, but there is alternatively propelled vehicle thing that's on the RSA website, but I don't think the weight has changed in any way. Actually, I see John Carney, who is a driving instructor, has answered your question there. There's been no official change to the Category B licence notified to the driving instructors anyway. It currently stands at 3.5 tonnes. This includes vehicle, load and driver and passenger. So the total combined weight you can tow on any car, the combined weight of the car and everything in the car and everything on the trailer cannot exceed 3.5 tons or 3,500 kgs when you're on a B license currently. But I do see the alternative propelled vehicles, and I've seen that come up a couple of times. So you might check out that today on the RSA website and see if it says something else about, because electric cars start off much heavier than ICE engine cars, much heavier. Some of them are huge. David Cuddy's in my chat on the other side. Best first car. He's still asking for the best first car, which is the most asked question on TikTok. I am streaming on YouTube as well, if you want to come over to YouTube, where you get better audio and nicer pictures, and I look in high definition, which is unfortunate, but it happens sometimes. Bob, love the chat roulette on TikTok. There'll be more of that to come. There will be tonight. I'm hoping to get on to Omegle or chat roulette tonight. So what we're doing the other night on TikTok was I turned the camera on the screen and we'd go through chat roulette. So it's just, you just don't know what's going to come up, who's going to be on, and we end up talking to some lovely people and some stoners and things. And it was just a lovely little event thing. And then TikTok decided some of it was copyright and just went, no, you're banned from streaming for 24 hours. So I did that, but I'm hoping to get back on tonight as well. Andy FX7, after all, the lockdown is always empty your pockets December to play in January. That's true. Yeah, I hope you're all recovering now from your Christmas spends, not too much gone mad on those little chocolatey things and beers and stuff. But unfortunately we're still in lockdown, and the 5 kilometre lockdown, I've actually been at checkpoints 4 times in the last 3 days. There have been checkpoints on the edge of Portlaoise. They can send you home these days. Just as a reminder to everybody, it is in force. We do have laws where the Gardaí can ask you where you're going and what you're doing and why you're going to be sent home. So you are supposed to stay within your 5 kilometre range, except for exercise, I think, and visiting graves or something. There's some obscure bits and pieces in it that allow you to go outside those. But it was interesting to have a chat to them this morning on the checkpoint. Lovely people, the Gardaí in fairness in Ireland, particularly here in Portlaoise, they're really nice. We can claim to fame as well, I suppose. It's a thing to celebrate, which is not something we should really be celebrating, but there was 0 deaths last year on the roads of Laois. Laois recorded no fatal collisions last year, which is funny because that's the way the RSA, not funny, but the way the RSA really go on about collisions that result in fatalities and not collisions that result in just collisions. You know, we don't talk about them. Insurance companies talk about them instead. 21 video ago, do you think you've been more focused on TikTok than YouTube output? No, not really. Pretty much the same output on YouTube as normal. We put out 1 video a week, but I've had a reduced amount of cars, so I can't. It's impossible for me to make videos for YouTube without enough cars. And although there's enough videos, every time you settle into the next month, every time you get to the next month of things that's going to just happen next, and then they go, no, you're back in lockdown. So I had 8 or 10 cars for this month already lined up. Now it's 2. That's it. So it's gone from 8 or 10 videos down to 2 videos. So it's nearly impossible to make any plans. And I'm already looking next month. I've already had conversations with Mazda, with Tesla, with all those other companies, and we're looking at next month whether it'll lift back then and you're still looking at it going, why can't we just figure out, are we going to have press cars or not? And you just cancel them for 3 months and leave it at that, or whatever. It's taken sort of a hit. Output. It hasn't taken any hit whatsoever. There's always been 1 video and 1 live stream every single week, and I've not missed a single week since then. Not missing the service we've missed the last few. Good man, Patrick. I hope you had your sick note for those weeks. Copper Belly's in the house. Annie McAfee, it's last here. Just first morning, I've looked outside and seen the ground not totally away from the tree. Same as here, yeah, exactly the same. Still big patches of snow. I was out running this morning, so there's still a lot of ice on roads that are untreated, and I mean properly black ice, white ice sort of thing on the roads that are not treated. That was an awesome commercial. Watch the whole thing. What commercial? You see a commercial before you come in? Oh, right, okay. Oh, I didn't realise that YouTube actually put a commercial in before a live stream, which is kind of weird. I've never seen that before, to be honest with you. It must be a new thing. Yeah, then YouTube does change things quietly and then tell you about it after the change. So when it's taking effect on your channel, you're kind of going, wait now, I didn't know that was happening. Marcus Hogan, happy to be back, Bob. Enjoyed the watch party the other night. Our 77 kilowatt ID3 being built week 4 this month. Nice, good things I'm hearing about ID3 builds going on right now. The software update is coming out as well, Marcus, so it should settle down the whole car to be no more. I'm looking forward to actually second drive of that car and ID4 just to see if the software has been settled out in it, because the hardware behind it is brilliant. Second to none, the range is perfect and all that, but the software seemed a bit weird. But yeah, we did a watch party tonight for anybody who's wondering, for a lot of the patrons and the guys on Facebook and stuff. We just did a watch party of the Massive Hunt on Amazon. If you go into your Amazon account, you can actually see there's a little thing in the corner that goes watch party, and you can just share a link and you get a little chat window on the side. It's quite cool. And we might do it again with something else, but not. I think we've all seen the Massive Hunt, so we'll figure out something else on Amazon to watch, just an episode or a movie or something, and sit back and have a beer and watch that. You had some fun at Yaris. The Yaris is very good. The Yaris GR is brilliant. It's 250 something horsepower of car. I didn't have a whole lot of fun with the icy bits. It has a real handbrake, which is a big help when you're driving around corners. Really handy, that. But the handbrake does work. Yeah, it's a real handbrake in it, and it's 4-wheel drive, so it's actually quite good. Between the whole arm is really good. A Yaris, but it's very expensive though. I have to say, 49,600 and something euro starting out. Then you add the luxury pack, which adds I think $4,000 to that, or the circuit pack, which adds $6,000 to that. So it's very expensive at 56,000 or 55,000 something euro delivered. It's, would you, for a Toyota Yaris? Kind of strange, isn't it? Mark King, what do you think of the 2011 1.6 TDI Passat? 2011 Passats are okay. That 1.6 TDI is quite underpowered for the size of the car. If you intend to carry a lot of things in the boot, or it's an estate version, or you carry a lot of passengers around, you end up just going to the petrol station, diesel station the whole time, to put more diesel in it, because 1.6 TDI is actually quite a small engine for a big car. It's a great car. Passat's a brilliant car. Much happier on its 2-litre diesel engine. Really is. Always has been. Mr. Cahill 09, afternoon Bob, took your advice. I bought a 430i this morning after the last Sunday service. Boom! I bet you're happy out now. Zooming around place 430i. It's a great car. Lovely car. Girls still calling you Jim Bob. Who's calling me Jim Bob, Butcher? I don't understand. Who's calling me Jim Bob? This is my new name. Have I a new name as well? There's lots of new names. Lots of new names going on. Graham, hi. John Carn, the RSS site says 4250 for alternatively propelled vehicles. The extra weight due to the powertrain, weight on due to alternative propulsion system. That's what I was wondering about. I seen that on the RSA website the other day when I was looking at it, that they had this new category for alternatively propelled vehicles. Not really specifying what they mean, but battery powered vehicles already start out like a Opel Corsa electric is 1500 kgs, so it's 1.5 tons before you even start putting people in it. Like it's quite a heavy. The petrol one is 800 kgs or 900 kgs, something like that. So it's a hell of a lot heavier with battery cars. And you imagine then we go up to Tesla or whatever, and then suddenly you've got a huge trailer behind it. Which trailer? Teslas are tow rated, so you can actually tow with a trailer. And Tesla provide their own tow bar as well, which is kind of weird, isn't it? So it is coming. The weight change has, according to what Graham says there, has changed to 4250 for alternative propelled vehicles. So your standard car is still 3.5 tons. Rules of origin, the latest big confusion, it seems. Rules of origin. Yes, there's a lot. We'll get to the taxi bit in a minute. We'll get to taxes and charges and what's coming on with your imports. It's going to hurt. It's not going to be pretty. From what I was reading this morning on the revenue website, it really isn't going to be good future, particularly for dealerships that sell more or less exclusively imported UK cars or Northern Ireland cars. And I think, and I'm talking about people on this side of the border rather than the other side of the border, and I think it's going to get a little bit messier as we try and figure out how this works and what's going to happen next. I think it's going to be a big problem, but I'll watch the discussion unfold here in front of me in a second. There's a lot of discussion already. It's really good. Afternoon, Foo Bear. How's it going? L Hound, as well as in the chat. Philip Shepherd. Hi, Bob. Wondering what your thoughts on a Cooper Fermentor. I'm thinking that one is a daddy wagon. Unfortunately, it would have to be 1.5, not the 300 brake horsepower. Fermentor's lovely. Yeah, Fermentor's really, really nice. It's a lot of money over the top of what a Seat already do. I mean, look in the Seat range for the similar sort of engine that's there, and you pay a lot less for the similar sort of car. You know what I mean? But Cooper Fermentor's a lovely car. Now, the one I have is a 300 horsepower one, so, and I haven't driven it on our side of the road, and we're still waiting on that information to come out. Peter Ucart, hi Bob, what was a great video on the A3 Saloon, still can't get over the price in Ireland. I thought it flashed up on the screen alright. It seems weird when you start looking at what's in the car for €38,000. It just seems like, wait a minute, this is a 1 litre manual gearboxed car and it's nearly 40 grand. When you just strip away the brand and the bits around you and you realise you're driving a 1 litre 6-speed engined car, you know what I mean? It's just got a 6-speed manual as standard, even without all the bells and whistles. Jack Gilson, hi Bob, first time watching, what's your opinion on the old Ford Focus Mark II 1.8 diesel? Very noisy engine at old 1.8. It's reliable, it's just kind of noisy, very tickety, you know, like a proper diesel. But it's actually pretty good. Ford Focus is a nice engine, nice car, nice combination between the two, and the Mark II was actually quite I suppose will become eventually a classic car to collect. Dynamic Frame, hi Bob, hope you're well. Just got a donation there from John. Thank you very much, John, on the PayPals for donating. As per usual, you're the most reliable donator, I have to say, when it comes to the PayPal. You're very good. Dynamic Frame, hi Bob, hope you're well. The dealership network I work for is converting 6 franchise dealerships into used car supermarkets due to the better profit margin and not having to conform to manufacturer restrictions. Whoa, okay, so converting franchise dealerships into car supermarkets, which I've seen a few supermarket things open here over the last couple of years down that Athlone. I've seen a couple, I've seen one up towards Naas Road area as well. Chris McCartan says Pit Stop Motors in Northern Ireland, Lisburn. Hi Bob, well done. New to be dealerships in the chat. It's good to have you, and I really want to know your opinion on this, because this has all kind of happened to us rather than us having a real sort of discussion about before it happened. It just kind of came out and everybody's wondering what's going to happen next. Patrick was 90% Colt was class, wasn't a fan of the later version 00. No, the original Colt was lovely. The kind of minivan yoke was a bit weird, alright. +1 in the A3 Saloon review, loved the shape and front, good evolution inside of what I expect next step from Dacia though. Yeah. Alan Acaster, just ordered a Skoda Superb Estate, good car, yeah. 1.7 TSI, 1.7 Saddle DSG Quartz Grey. Should have in 2 weeks stock in UK. You're lucky to have stock. A lot of places don't have any stock. I've seen lists for cars right now go out to 7 months, weirdly. Shane Colton thought the 10% tariff on UK imports was done away with now that the Brexit deal was sorted. Seems not in the last few days. It's not, Shane. No, if it's first registered in Northern Ireland, there's no 10%. If it's first registered in the UK, seemingly there is a tariff on it. So I actually have the revenue thing open, so I'll tell you what we do. We'll just go to that for the buzz. Hold on. So you can find this. I'm looking around the back of these things. So you can find the stuff, the Brexit information stuff, on the revenue website. Okay, so but the important parts are here. Important to be from Great Britain or Northern Ireland. So this is for both Great Britain or Northern Ireland. 1st of January 2021. You may, you know, it's even they're not sure, you may have to pay the following imported vehicle. Import duties, vehicle registration tax and VAT at 21%. If a vehicle has been imported from Northern Ireland, no import duty will apply, but you may be liable to pay vehicle registration tax and VAT at 21% only in respect of new vehicles. So the new vehicles from 2021 will have a 21% VAT thrown on them. But other than that, if you're importing from a vehicle that's first registered in Northern Ireland, it's still only vehicle registration tax, and then the rest is okay. You can declare electronic custom declaration is required in advance of the vehicle arriving in the States. You need to do that beforehand. And you need to, must be registered within 30 days of the first arrived. However, there are some exceptions. VRT is charged in most cases as a vehicle is registered in the state. So pretty straightforward stuff from, of course, obviously breaking it down, and they are all subject to change. So that would entirely down to the fact that might change next week, because that's what happens a lot on revenue websites. You see that quite a bit. Where was he now? Dynamic Frame says lockdown in the UK at least is currently allowing click and collect, so customers can come to dealerships to unaccompanied test drives and collection. It's vague enough here. They're supposed to be closed, is what's supposed to happen for collections. But I've seen Volkswagen come out recently, so that Skoda came out and said that they would send the car to the. If you wanted to buy online, you can do all your finance online, and the car will be delivered to your front door. So instead of you going to dealership, they would deliver to a door. So as far as I know, they're supposed to be not being collected from a dealerships. Hi Connor Murphy. Hi, I love you. Hello Connor, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. James White, what is the future second-hand diesels? It's the future's as always just as bright as it always was. Nothing much is going to change for diesels. It'll be new car sales from 2030 is what our lovely Shane Ross has brought in. So we'll be starting to get rid of exclusively powered diesel and petrol cars. So no electric or hybrid or mild hybrids or any of that sort of connection behind them. But you can see it already that at exclusively powered diesel cars, the sales of them have already fallen. And we're now starting to buy more PHEVs, more electrics. more mild hybrid, that sort of stuff is starting to rise anyway. So it's definitely going to start pushing forward with the second-hand diesels. And you find by the time we get to 2030, we'll have the car companies will already have flooded the market with things that aren't exclusively diesel. But at the moment, it's looking very bright for electric at the moment. I've seen some new electric cars that are coming out and are out at the moment, and they look fantastic. Now, how they drive and stuff is another thing entirely, but they look great. I mean, the stuff that's out there, there's a ton of things out there you can actually do. Flavinite disciple, new cars are simply too pricey. It can nearly be 1/6 of the cost of your home, but sorry, second-hand future for me. That's where everybody is with second-hand at the moment. If you look at a new car right now, even a fairly basic brand new car comes in well in excess of 20 grand, well over 20 grand for a new, what should be family orientated standard hatchback yoki. And then you can just start adding 10 grand to that for options. And even if you look at the electric car market, they start off out there in the 30s, and then they work their way up to 50. And further on, if you want to get into the luxury brand, or not luxury brand, but the Tesla in the market, or the Audi e-trons and stuff, you can start pushing up into the 80s and 90s up there. So it's amazing that we're trying to find ways to make people get out of cars, but we're also trying to make it so expensive to get into cars in the first place, but not providing any alternative to anybody. No meaningful alternatives other than just taxing us out of cars, which is essentially what's happening here with our imports. Park Dial, what's the state of debts in Ireland on the road? Do you think it's getting better? It's relatively stable, Park. It's been relatively going down and stable for many years. It's not rising, which is a good thing. The problem we have right now is we're driving people onto bicycles and onto pedestrians, and they're now the problem when it comes to road collisions and road deaths. Fatalities in collisions now account for a lot of cyclists and a lot of pedestrians. So it's not the driver anymore. Now, some of that has come from driver behaviour. Some of that has come from the safety systems within cars, all of airbags and ABS and all those sort of things. But it's not stopping. The problem is not going away when it comes to cyclists and pedestrians on the road. So that's the problem we have right now, is that it's not that we need smarter drivers, we need smarter pedestrians, and we need to fully understand that the roads are shared between cyclists and pedestrians and car drivers, that you're not paying road tax because of the road, you're paying an environmental tax because of the emissions of your car, and it's nothing to do with the road anymore. So you're just going to have to learn to share the road, because cyclists, as a cyclist, I can put my hands up and say I'm a cyclist. I've definitely cycled many hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, and it is desperately scary when you're on a back road and you get overtaken by something and they are hoofing it along and you are scared. It can be very scary. But the RSA does carry the stats on road collisions. Now, it'll be out of date, I suppose, to some degree. There is in the road safety system. Go away with the driver testing. It's all the same. Collision statistics review, January 1st to December 21st. We can look into that one. So this is January to December. I'll just flick over so you can all see the road collision thing that's going on right now. So this is from the RSA website. It's from rsa.ie. As of 31st December 2020, 138 fatal collisions, which have resulted in 149 fatalities in Irish roads. 9 more fatal collisions and 9 more deaths than compared to 2019. So we are up by 6%, but it's 9 more deaths in total. We have fairly low. We're pretty good as a European thing. We're actually pretty good. Driver and passenger fatalities represent 6 in 10 at the moment, 60%, and you can see it there between the two. So driver, passenger, and then there's pedestrian. But look at pedestrian here in the green for 2020. It's higher than passenger on that side, and pedal cyclist is also up. So you can see they're both up on those sides, and motorcyclist is up there too. I wonder what the other was. I'm not sure what other is. The problem for the RSA, I find the problem for the RSA is that they focus very, very hard on fatalities and not on general collisions. So it's very, very hard to find information about general collisions that don't involve fatalities. They do quite structured on fatalities though. Cross 13 is in the house. Hi, Cross, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. It's an increase in the weight and length limits under the discussion for EV HGVs, and the length increase is to potentially allow aerodynamic improvements. The weight increase would allow for the same payload. Fair play. That's what the change in our licensing thing is about. Lukey Boy is in the house. Hi, Lukey Boy. Barry Fitz, Saucy Roll is everywhere. Barry Fitz is in the house. Saucy Roll is over there and over there. I've seen you in both, but I've seen your name pop up over here on this side. Derek Lowry, once you get your learner's permit, are you fully qualified to drive a tractor? Yes, I think so. I think you can drive it as once you have a provisional license at 16. John Carney might answer that a bit better than me now for the tractor bit. I'm not too sure about tractors, but I know you can drive a tractor from 16, which you're taking your theory test and you get your L plates. You can drive a tractor at 16. So no. Mick Mulcahy, hi Bob, is buying a used UK imported car through the Irish main dealer wise when the main dealer is only offering third-party warranty for 12 months instead of their own garage warranty? Whoa, third-party warranty. Well, a third-party warranty is essentially the same thing as a garage warranty. I know that sounds a little bit dismissive, but it's kind of an insurance policy anyway. It's a similar sort of thing. You're still going to get it fixed in a dealership. It's not like your car is going to be sent to the UK or sent to an insurance company you don't know. It'll still go to a dealership for its repairs, but it's just offered under an insurance system. So it is a way for a dealership to kind of be guaranteed that they're going to get paid, because dealerships on a brand new car, they bill, like if they bought a Volkswagen and sold it to you and the car comes back for warranty work, that's paid for by Volkswagen. That work has been paid for not by the dealership, but it's paid for by Volkswagen. So that's how that works. And it's quite profitable for a dealership to do warranty work. We all know that one, boys. But when it comes to a second-hand car, they offer sort of an insurance policy on it. So they're offering you a 12 months warranty through an insurance system so they can bill the insurance company when the car comes back for warranty. So it's a similar sort of setup. Now, you'd have to read through the fine details of it, but I'm sure there's plenty of dealerships offering out that kind of thing at the moment. It might actually work out nicely for you, because if the dealership goes kaput or something happens, or they're not that kind of dealership you're used to dealing with, that insurance company would still be there for you. Mini Eggs, hi Bob, hope you and yours are all in rude health. We are so far, yeah. Do you think electric car facelifts and replacement cycles will be the same as combustion cars for 5 to 7 years? Well, they'll want to shift a lot of units to stay profitable. So we have unit sales will stay profitable, but we also have battery sales that might help them stay profitable. I notice a hookup between did I see Apple and Hyundai want to get together to make an electric car now. This is kind of off the wall stuff, which I suspect might be a little bit airy fairy, but it might go ahead. We'll see. But you'll see how these big companies will try and make money over the long term. And what makes money for a long term stuff is warranty work, is replacement parts, and selling updated models, and being able to make that 3 to 5 year gap always happen and always have a car coming out. So like, you see how many times a year I'd fly off overseas to go and look at these new model cars and things, and that's effectively replacement models that are coming in the whole time. So with any luck, we'll have new cars, new aerodynamics, new facelifts, new everything coming out over time. Lukey Boys in the chat there as well. They have been putting an ad over in the Sunday service upon joining for a year now. Upon joining, have they? I never join it because I'm always live. I'm on it, so I click live and I make it go. I didn't know that. Is it legal to have a bonnet exit exhaust? No. Terry Clowley, once you get your learner's permit, you're fully qualified to drive a tractor. There, you just asked that question again. You only have to ask questions once, I promise. I'll get to everybody's questions as we go along. Lukey Boy, 50 grand for a Yaris. Yeah, it is. Jesus, the nanny's purse. What I reckon they should do with the Yaris is when some old deers come in with the actual 1 litre Yaris in for a service, they should give it to LGR to have a spin around down in while they're waiting. Irish Foxhound, come on, Irish Foxhound's in the chat. I see that there. Good God, there is a gazillion people who have there's a lot of you here, alright. Well done. Congratulations on being here. It's good to have you all in. Irish Foxhound, yeah, Irish Foxhound's here. Cross 13, Duns and Mount Mellick Road have been salting the car park this year with no curbs or light posts. It used to be my skid pad for me to keep my winter car controls off. Everywhere I drive in Mortleach that isn't on the main road is a skid pan. Literally, the whole town froze. I wouldn't even walk up on the footpaths because you hurt yourself. Mr. Carl says, my roommate had the Press ID3 over Christmas, works for VW. Software still whack. Yeah, they haven't updated. Yeah, lights still randomly turn off. Only half reverse camera shows on the screen. I know, loads of things. It's very weird actually when the software doesn't work. But I'm sure the software update will be huge. But the problem is, a lot of car companies are investing a gigantic amount into the software that runs your car now, rather than the software or the hardware that runs the car anymore. So we'll see how that turns out for them. But it'll be okay. Stay away from hybrids and electric motors. Why would I stay away from them? They're great. Some of them are deadly. Some of the electric cars are really nice yokes to drive around in. They're actually quite pleasant and often faster than their petrol equivalent by quite some distance. Although you'd struggle to beat that little Yaris. I have to say, that thing is so quick. It's like a little housefly. It's gone. Jared Hewitt's in the chat. Happy New Year, Bob and crew. Hope all is well. Looking to get a VW E up for the folks. You'd be lucky. They weren't even on sale in Ireland. What are the chances of finding one in UK being feasible not to get into Ireland? Depends on the price. If you're going to import a car that's first registered in the UK, you're going to pay an excise duty tariff on it, which is a pain. Yes, to be honest with you, it's 10%. Like, it's 10% on top of it again, and VAT at 21%. They really want to penalise you for importing your car into Ireland from over there, even if it's not on sale in Ireland in the first place, which the VW E-Up didn't go on sale here. Or if it did, it was very short. I missed a watch party. Yeah, you missed a watch party, Andy. It was brilliant. Paul O'Connor, good afternoon, lads. Okay, I talk about VRT and motor tax. Kind of. We'll be talking about all kinds of things. How are the exhaust? There's Luke. Luke is in two places at once as well. I thought I'd seen your name pop up here, Luke. But if you're over on TikTok, you can join the YouTube channel, which is linked in my bio up here if you want to join in on the YouTube chats, there's lots of people there. There's 273 of you here. If you can click the like button, it'll be absolutely brilliant. Good to have you. And you can also support the channel. There's many ways down below if you want to support. Become a Patreon or a PayPal or a channel memberships or just super chats or whatever you want to do, whatever way you like. If you feel it's value to your life and it's passing your time, which is good. It's going to get darker before no time, isn't it? How are exhaust tested for dB levels? Well, there is a decibel level in the NCT Centre. I've never seen it used. I suspect they only use it when they want to use it. But there is also a decibel meter that the Gardaí can have in the traffic corps. I've seen them too. They've been taken out and showed me. So that was interesting. But for exhaust levels, that's pretty. It's more like I can hear it across the street, and that's what will come out of it. That's the reason to be pulled over. The butcher I had Jim Bob from Warzone. Do we have final breakdown for import charges? Other than what we've seen so far, now I've seen a good few tweets on it. I've seen a good few. Like last night, I was tweeting about stuff last night. I'll show you this one. This one came up last night. Thanks to Jared Hewitt for retweeting this one into me. The days of importing GB cars are over for many. 10% tariff on cost price, 21% VAT, NOx emission charge, VRT. They love taxing ordinary people. The SMI will have a captive market prices to soar. I think that might be pretty close to the mark, if I'm honest with you. That's pretty much as close as we're going to get to the way it's going to work. And unfortunately, it means that people will be driven into either cars they don't want or cars that is brand new, and maybe they don't want to do that either because of the finance companies. You know what I mean? Where was I? Jones Seno J. When are we getting the compressor powered engines like they have in trucks, aka no fuel required? We'll see. There'll be a lot of investment required for all that sort of stuff. It's crazy. Sarah Malloy, thoughts on the RSA website queuing for hours? Isn't it insane? The RSA set up a new website for young drivers to go and check on their licensing. It's called myroadsafety.ie. It is the thing we're being asked to drive all the young people to, and it's the thing we're supposed to be talking about all the time. And then when you get there, there's a 20-minute queue to get even logged into the site. It says 20 minutes queue. And, you know, you got 5-minute waiting. And then you log in and there's nothing. There's no reason to wait to log in. Absolutely none. Nothing. You need a MyGovID to assess the rest of it. It just seems so old-fashioned somehow, and we still don't have a theory test that's online that you just go click and take your theory test, which doesn't make any sense either. Chris McCartan, thank you very much for the donation. My super chat, you're very kind, you're very good to look after. But Sarah, you're right, the queue waiting just to log into a website seems so old-fashioned, really, doesn't it? I mean, do you ever queue to log into any other website? Even the smaller websites don't. I mean, we've hugged things to death, and I know the first day I mentioned it on TikTok, I looked at it, I saw it. It was working fine. I did a TikTok about it, and then 10 minutes later, the site was broke. So we broke it the first night, but it's remained broke pretty much ever since, as it still creeps on there. Ian Burrell, opinions please on Nissan data hack in Canada. Implications of integrity of internet updates for car software, a scary prospect. It is, and it does reveal to some degree. Now, I'm assured by Cross 13 that Tesla would have some of the highest security on earth when it comes to their cars, but would also gather probably the most information on your habits and on what you want to do. But Nissan would be in the same principle. To be like the amount of information we are giving to car companies, and it's more and more. And I see it even when I jump into a press car now, and it says agree to the privacy policy. Click yes before it'll even start. That was on my Audi A3 review, because you click this thing before you even start, and it's really strange. Saucy points out that Ticketmaster is the only site he's ever queued for, which is true. I just remember that. Yeah, Ticketmaster, but only then when you're waiting for a particular seat. But But for data hacks and security hacks and things, it's very scary for people to be in, because a car records essentially every movement you've ever made in the car, everywhere you go. And even now we have security cameras that are recording as well on the outside of cars. There's actually an option on BMW. It's already in Tesla. Volkswagen will be offering it soon as well. These kind of dash cams that are uploading to the cloud thing. So if you have Nissan's, the data hack in Canada, which has definitely got implications here as well. We have pretty good security in car companies, but we need to be reassured that security is very high, particularly when we're logging in to things. Like if you're logging into stuff on a dashboard, like your, I don't know, Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is that the software allows you to log into, you want to make sure that your login details are safe with your car as well as being safe with the car company. Anyway, says RSA cite alternative fuel vehicles with MAM up to 4250, notation for folk who have held category B license for 2 years, whatever that means. It's always the 2 years. Every time you want to bring a young driver out for a spin, it has to have a 2-year fully licensed driver. It's always whatever happens in 2 years, you suddenly become a brilliant driver. I don't know what it is. The butcher says 10% import charge, 23% VAT and VRT thrown on top of that as well. Getting expensive for those who use cars, boys. Even if you don't want to import a UK car, you're going to get nailed here, because some car dealerships rely exclusively on importing UK cars for sale here. Our used car market has been topped up for years from the UK market. It got out of control there a couple of years back, and they brought in these taxes and charges and things, and they just snuck them in now on the back of Brexit as well. Why can't we leave jet engines in cars so they only run on air? Because jet engines don't just only run on air. they use an awful lot of kerosene to run on air as well. Ben Moore, the majority of dealers who sell UK cars are cowboys anyway. I agree with you. The majority of lads are actually really good in the trade, in fairness to them. They do what they have to do. They turn some money and they pay some bills, and they try and get themselves a house over their head and run their life as best they can using the system that they've got. You know, it's very hard for a used car dealership to work exclusively as a used car dealership and not become a main dealership. And even main dealerships, I've spoken to a number of main dealerships who remain off record, who have said that they would like to get out from under being a main dealership at this stage and either become a multi-franchise dealership with multiple main dealer brands sitting outside the front, or get rid of the multiple main dealer brands, just start trading everybody's cars. That's where they'd rather be at this stage. They find it quite difficult to survive on what they've got from the car companies, or the deals they have at least. Niall Power, hi Bob, driver's license up for renewal at the end of the year. How much notice do you need to give? Nothing at all. They won't actually replace your license until it expires, so it actually has to expire. Or you can go in and say it was lost, which is what most people do, like a week before. But you don't actually need to give them a whole lot of notice, other than a lockdown facility. You can do it on the website from the website to actually log in, but you don't actually need to notify them at all, other than just turn up and get your license changed. It's gone. If it expires, it's fine. You're still fully licensed, even if it's expired, believe it or not, weirdly, for a temporary period of time. Alan Barry, hi Bob, what's your thoughts on the VW Touareg TDI R-Line Tech? The modern one, the really new one, Alan, is really good. Mate of mine's after buying one of those. A few mates of mine's after buying those Touaregs. The new one is gorgeous. It feels like you're driving some sort of big luxury brand. It is a kind of luxury brand, but a big luxury brand car. It really doesn't feel like a Volkswagen. The older Touaregs were still very good, very powerful. They're the ones that are pulling 747s and all that stuff. They're still pretty good back then as well. When they go wrong, they're expensive, like all of those big SUVs are. Let me just get rid of that. Sorry, now I just have to moderate on another channel here. Saucy Roll is doing a brilliant job, but we have to get rid of some people out there because there's always some lunatics hanging around the place. Iro Hun car guy, I want to buy a Seat Altea free track from the UK. Diesel VRT is $4,500 for 2 litre TDI, 860 for 2 litre. It's cost is the $4,500 for the diesel one. NOx charge, I'm sure, or some sort of generated mad system. It's crazy really what we're doing to ourselves here, lads, and what we're allowing to be done to us, which is the other part of that. I'm not saying this as a mad car guy, but the vast majority of people who buy a second-hand car from a dealership, whether it be imported or otherwise, are people who can't afford to buy a new car. And if you're going to drive the prices of new cars up, and you're going to pull the price of second-hand cars up with them, who's going to buy the new cars and who's going to buy the used cars? Because that's going to really kill the market entirely, isn't it? Really? If everybody holds on to their cars for another 2 years. Average car park age right now is 8 years old. That's down from 10 years old, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It was 10 years old. It's down to 8 years old. I bet you it goes back up next year. I bet you more people don't buy a car this year. They just kind of go, nah, just hold on, another year. Oh, another year. It's crazy, isn't it? Joan says we could have the compressor boat engines too that don't use any diesel. Would be great. Sounds interesting. I haven't looked up yet. Enjoyed making your low-calorie pizza from TikTok. Yeah, that was a little low-calorie thing I put up, which is done on a flatbread instead of done it on actual pizza. David Cuddy is also in the chat on this side as well. Best first car opinion. That is literally the best. The most asked question on TikTok is the best first car every single time. And 99% of the time, I will say it's anything under 1.4 to save on your insurance and your tax and all that sort of stuff. It's generally slightly cheaper. But yes, thank you, David Cuddy, for joining both of them. Hughes Events. I got a great deal on my van 2019 from Hurst in Belfast. Problem here is getting a decent low mileage van second hand. So that's what we'll all miss most. It'll be the commercial sales stuff as well will also be affected by this. And that does have a knock-on effect. Those commercial vans that are sold and bought and sold here drive business. And like driving business is the thing that makes the wheels go round in this country. And it's small business that does that. It's not Google and Facebook and Apple and all the rest. It's small business holders with less than 10 employees that actually drive. They're the lifeblood of the business of Ireland. And they're the ones that are going to have to pay all of these prices straight away. It's definitely going to happen all of the time. If you're on TikTok, you can join me over on YouTube if you want to. This comes out as a streamed podcast afterwards, the Sunday service, so it comes up on the YouTube channel. I'm currently researching doing another podcast, a separate one for actual audio podcast later on, which would be more of a variety of topics rather than questions and answers. But this Q&A stays up on YouTube afterwards, so you can go over there and subscribe to that. Colin McNulty, afternoon Bob, afternoon Colin. Jones says we could have them make mini diesel electric engines like trains that don't use any fuel too, right? Mad into that electric. Donny S. Bob, new car sales figures from 2019-2020 in Norway has tipped over 50% pure electric sales. How long before this happened in Ireland do you think? We could do it a lot faster, Tony. It's about 4.5% now, I think. I think that was the last figures I've seen from the SIMI. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's about 4 to 4.5% in Ireland. They're starting to gain ground, but the problem here is we have the price. The price of them here is insane, and we don't have a good alternative to just buying the thing outright or financing them in some way. Whereas you look at the UK market where you can lease out things over a period of time for your business and you flip them over, and that's the kind of thing that actually drives the second-hand market as well. I think we could easily reach 40-50% of the market in the next 5 to 7 years, but not at the current prices, not at the current finance systems and the current prices. It's absolutely crazy to keep going that direction. Mick Brown says hydrogen-powered engines would be rather cool in electric depot. Being researched, Toyota have been driving the hydrogen power argument for a long time. Honda gave it a shot with the Clarity as well. Problem is, hydrogen is not terribly efficient on fuel efficiency. It's quite hard to collect, and the offset that is actually higher CO2 emissions to create the hydrogen in the first place than it is to create electricity. And the big part about electricity, of course, is electricity is already everywhere in this country anyway. At least you can pretty much find a plug to plug into somewhere, whereas hydrogen power stations would have to be built, or hydrogen fuel stations would have to be built. They would have to put them in somewhere. And although they would probably go into petrol stations, I'm not sure petrol stations have room for a hydrogen power station or hydrogen fuel station there. The Vida bus. I've swapped 2 cars to one and bought the new Sorento diesel. Good car. Love the Sorento diesel. Really popular car, that car. I think it's one of the best they've ever made. Bit expensive, but really brilliant. Day before the Rolls-Royce end of sale day for petrol diesels. A bad move. No. You know, you're fine. Don't worry. It'll be all okay in the end. It'll all wash out over time. Given enough time, we'll keep the diesel and petrols will be going for a long time. Just won't be new sales of them. Your car will eventually be very popular in the second-hand market. Water and vinegar is probably not a good idea. Anyway, Ben Moore, admittedly the UK aren't in the EU anymore, but the VRT should be done away with. It's an illegal tax. Well, they've changed it to make it a legal tax these days. They've bent the rules and how it's enforced. But yes, it still distorts the price of cars here quite a big way. That's the problem with it. Is if you look at the price of a Seat, like Seats are built in Barcelona. I've been in the factory, right? Look at the price of the billboard in Seat for a Seat Leon, standard one. Look at the price of the billboard here. There's this massive difference between the two, and it's essentially VRT. Same for Peugeot, they're built in France, they're built in their factories. They have the exact same problem. Volkswagen, the same. You land into Germany over there, you see the price of the of the cars when you're walking off the airplane in the airports, all of be having traveled a long time, and the price looks insane in our own country because of that. Hi Bob, Scott, a Corrock diesel or petrol? I like both, to be honest with you. Corrock is a lovely car. I would buy a diesel one because I'd be happy enough with that. My wife would buy a petrol one because of her lower mileage, so it depends on how much mileage you're going to be doing every year. Petrol if you're low mileage, so low mileage would be 20 to 25,000 kilometers or less, or even up to 30,000 kilometers, somewhere around there, and then from 30,000 kilometers onwards is diesel, unless you fancy electric, which there isn't one of a Corrock yet, not until the Enyaq comes out this year. Alex Kretzan, hi Bob, just wondering, what do you know how long it normally takes to get an emergency driving test? I've seen anywhere on our TikTok from 1 week to 4 weeks. If you play the game and you manage to get yourself logged into my myroadsafety.ie, which is a really bad name, but anyway, myroadsafety.ie, if you get logged into that, you can actually see when your test is coming up if you've booked through that in the first place. There is some technical issues with that website, but normally it takes about 2 weeks if you're an emergency worker, so if you're a frontline worker or an essential worker as they call it. Garrett Talbot, hey Bob, saw a couple of Mercedes reviews from Marek's channel. Mercedes door alignment and door shut issues. Are Mercedes going backwards again? Regards, they are trying to push out so many new cars. That's what I think. Mercedes actually, they set out 4 or 5 years ago to launch like 20 new models or something crazy like that, and they've managed to do it, but at the detriment of how many cars they did produce and how quick they did produce them. So there's so much choice. If you look at the Mercedes website, there's just so many cars you can choose from in the Mercedes range. It's kind of crazy to see. But still, there's a hell of a lot of cars out there. Now, I'm not too sure when it comes to fitment, and I know Marek is quite hard on cars as well when he wants to be similar to me, but I haven't really noticed it here. They are manufactured in the same plants but at different rates. And I know Mercedes did a tie-up with Renault on the 1.5 litre diesel engine, the DCI engine. So Mercedes are trying to cut costs in corners somewhere. So it could be happening with their build quality as well. Although I still have a real soft spot for Mercedes. The Mercedes E200 DE or whatever it's called that I had here is just a PHEV. It was absolutely superb. Diesel PHEV, mind you. Alan says, yes, sorry, 1.5, 150 horsepower, had to accept the vanilla, no extra car, or else Skoda lead time was at least 14 weeks. Yeah, it's a very long. You want to go outside of stock yokes, you're gone. It's crazy stuff. I'm going to just put you in time out for a little bit there because you're just going on constantly about no fuel engines. Darren Connor, best 6,000 for first car, 2,000 for insurance. You've $6,000 to spend on a car, any car. There's so much choice you're going to have in that range. Definitely so much choice in a range. Anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 is really high money to be paying for a first car. In all honesty, there's tons of them out there you could choose from. Keep it under 1.4. You probably won't need $2,000 for insurance. So like there's Golfs in that range. There's Hyundai i10s, the Kia Rios, i20s. Leon. You can get the Leon at 1.4, but you probably won't get it at that old. There's just so many cars in that range. Unlimited choice. Lisa, hi Bob, Chunky Knits. That's Chunky Knits by Lisa, which is on Instagram. Really enjoyed the Toyota Yaris GR review. Watched the Audi A3 1 litre review. Very pricey. Has enough horses to overtake safely. It depends on what you're overtaking and how fast you're going in the first place, because little petrol engines don't rev. They rev pretty high, but they lose a lot of their power when they get very close to the top of it. So it can be a bit crazy. But they are pretty good cars. I do like that A3. It's weird to think of an Audi A3 with that kind of, with a 1 litre petrol. It just doesn't make any sense for me. The A1 is okay like that though. I quite like that City Carver one they have as well. It's really nice, the A1. Brian O'Donnell, hi Bob and Flavin Knights. Hope all as well. Any good news or enough bad news? We're just having a laugh. Should we just keep on going with the fun and games part? There's a lot of you here today. It was really busy today. It's over 300 people in chat right now this very second. You can join if you're over on TikTok. You can join over on YouTube, which you can hear me live with a lovely blue microphone, which will make it sound very nice. And a different camera entirely, which I look terrible on because it's high definition. So a high definition version of me is on YouTube if you want. Have you ever reviewed the 2010 A4S line? Don't think going back that far on the reviews on YouTube for 2010 would be far back. Wouldn't be far off at 2012, probably 2010, 2012, somewhere in those regions. It would definitely be there somewhere. There is an A4 on my YouTube channel. Kevin Earls, what do you think electric cars have become normal in Ireland? They're normal now, to be honest with you. There's so many of them around. They're becoming much more average and so normal that you begin to miss them on the street. You begin to miss which ones are which and which one's electric, which one isn't. So at this stage, people are starting to take it for granted that electric cars are in and working. And it's true. I've made electric cars work here very successfully. I've taken a Model 3 and driven it all the way down to the lake and around the lake, no charge, and back up again, use a supercharger on the way, and it's fine. It does take a mind shift. It definitely does take a mind shift. You do have to get used to the idea of having to pull over at charge points. You have to seek out charge points. In some cases, you have to go and research where you're going to go before you actually go, because you have to make sure there's a charge point there. But that very much depends on the car and the range and what you want to do. Most people commute to work every day and will charge the modern electric car maybe twice a week or 3 times a week in their house, so they don't really charge on the street at all. That happens a hell of a lot. What was the last full electric car I had here? I can't remember. Whatever it was, I never actually charged it on it. It was a PHEV thing. I don't think I ever actually charged it uptown. I'd charge it, and I've got probably the most amount of fast chargers in any town that's ever happened. They're all over the place now. We have a 150 kilowatt one. We have a 50 kilowatt. 50 kilowatt. And then there's another one down the road that's 35 kilowatts. So there's 3 fast chargers that are in that list straight away. Thank you very much for the donation by PayPal. You're very, very good. Thank you. You're all very kind today. The January blues has not hit us all yet, has it not? Or is everybody pissed off already because we've got to this point of the year, it goes all grey outside and just stays that way. Spring is coming. Fear not. The days are getting longer, not shorter. Mick Brown. All manufacturing contrived and controlled by guess who? That sounds like a conspiracy theory. I don't know what that means. I will never own an electric car. They are a joke. They're not. They're only a joke when you're in its rearview mirror and it's disappearing away up the road from you. At the moment, I would like an electric car. I still have to collect one. I'm currently in negotiations to have one here for a while. But lockdown has stopped that thing as well, which is supposed to be a year of driving electric for a year, which will definitely happen. Just a matter of getting onto the list to be able to go and collect things and hand over stuff, and you just can't. You'd be afraid of spreading around COVID, so you just don't. So it's definitely going to happen, and I've made electric cars work here very successfully. They're very, very good. Look, there's a place for petrol, there's a place for diesel, but there's definitely a big place for electric as well. I think the argument ends once diesel cars, once half the market or more than 50% of the market becomes electric. I think people will kind of go with what we all complain about. It's good, like. Bossa Dave. I haven't seen your name in a couple of weeks either. Hi Bob, I have a Clio RS Cup, good car, Mark III, and a 2019 Honda Civic Type R. Should I be looking to get a Yaris GR2? Only if you have a spare 56 grand. I would get the circuit pack. I quite like the luxury pack. There's you can't mix the 2 packs together. Like there's sat-nav and stuff, but Apple CarPlay is in the other one, so it doesn't really matter about the sat-nav because you probably won't use it anyway. But the luxury pack does have cross assist on the back and blind spot detection. There's a few other kind of nice stuff that it adds, but I really do think your RS Cup is nice and quick. The Yaris would leave both those cars standing. I'm telling you now, a 2021 Yaris GR will leave that Honda Civic Type R dead in the water. It's so quick. Because the 4-wheel drive, and it really puts it down in a super cool way, and it's just fun. It's fun all the time, and they're brilliant. And if you have enough money, yeah, definitely, I would seriously sacrifice one of those 2 cars in the blink of an eye to buy myself one of those Yaris. But it is a 3-door, 2-door effectively with a tiny boot, and so they're quite small in the back, and they don't even have memory seats. So when you lift the seat forward to let children in the back, you have to reset your seat all over again from scratch. It's just like kind of frustrating, you know. Cross 13 says the MAM limit increase for EVs in theory should allow me to tow more with my Model 3. The license tow limit was limited to 910 kgs by the 3,500 kg limit. The braking etc. have no trouble 150 kg or 1,500 kgs. Yeah, so the weight of your car, not talking to you, Cross, I know you know what you're talking about, but the weight, so the 3.5, this came up the other night on my TikTok as well, and we had a massive debate over twin axles and triple axles and one axle and all these different ones that come out in the end of it, but none of that really counts towards your license. Your license is governed by weight, so however you mix your axles, it's got to be the right weight for the entire car, and 99% of people who have a twin axle on the back have more than their license can be carrying. So that's 99% of people out there who put a twin axle on will put a big mini digger on the back which weighs 2.5 tons and so on. They're putting it on the back of a Hilux which can only carry 2,700 kgs, and then it starts being a huge difference in weight. So you really, the weight stuff that comes in is something that you really need to understand. And most people who are doing a trailer license do it and end up realizing that they should have done the weights properly. It's the weight that matters, not really the amount of axles that are there or what you're going to carry, but the weight of your car and your trailer and everything else combined is what they're going to weigh if there's a problem when you get pulled over on the side of the road. Chris McCartan, Bob, Chris from Pit Stop here. We had a really busy November and December for sales into Ireland. Panic buyers. I think, yes, there was. I noticed that as well, Chris. In fairness, there was the amount of texts and emails and things I was getting going. Is prices going up in January? What's the panic? Is what's going to happen next? How many cars do I need to buy? There was a big panic going on because we still, up to the line of this, we weren't even sure what it was going to be, and now it's already in, and people are going, will the cars prices go up when Brexit happens? And you go, Brexit's happened, like they're gone. They've left. England has left the building, so it's already there, it's already out to happen. But there was definitely a bit of a panic going on. Interesting to see what happens towards the end of this month, as we're only, what are we in, 10 days in now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens towards the 31st this month, whether sales fall off, because I'm seeing other dealerships come back to me saying that sales are doing pretty good, that they're up like by 7-8% on last year already in the first 2 weeks. So but we see as deliveries take place how many more stuff is going to come out of that, how much more we're going to get out of the sales market, because obviously moving into February, if we're still in some sort of lockdown, then we still have distance problems, and then we still have delivery problems and manufacturing problems, and so many things are going on right now. Dave Cuddy says the best last car is the cars you get buried with, Dave. That's going to be definitely a BMW M5 because Dave has one. Mick Brown, green lanes, better views, mountain bike type, better green lanes, better views, mountain type of bike. Yeah, I like green lane. Actually, David Cuddy's an off-roady cyclist. If you want to do that for mountain bike stuff, he does a lot of that for sure. I shot forward there. There's a ton. My God, the debate rages on further on down the bottom here. This is going to be a big day. Dave Cook says, I'm going to Cambodia where the driving will only be 4.2 litre Land Cruisers forever. That's because they need to repair them with a sledgehammer. John Fitzgerald, Bob, as we are now the only right-hand drive country in the EU in Western Europe, could we switch to left-hand drive? Actually, how would be considered? Cars could actually get cheaper, I'd imagine. They would certainly get cheaper because we'd be able to import them without waiting for a production slot. So when you order your car, the reason it's got such a wait is because the factory that's building it has a production slot that they have to go through. So they have to produce stuff for France and Germany and Spain and all these, and then Ireland comes up for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and they produce your car during that time. Now, if we didn't have to wait, if we could be put onto the same list as Spain, because essentially the cars would be Spain, we could easily get our cars earlier and cheaper because it'd be in there. Now, I reckon we'd have to sequester ourselves for a good, during lockdown. I think we'd have to put ourselves away for a few days while carnage happens on the streets out there. People trying to figure out what side of the road to be driving on. But with good education, I think we could actually do it. I think it would actually be possible to switch sides of the road. And then over time, you would filter out the cars that are now right-hand driving on the other side of the road. It would just filter out over time. I'd actually love that, to be honest with you, because I prefer driving the other side of the road and the other side of the car. I know that sounds weird, but I actually prefer it. But there's a crap ton of other stuff that would have to be done in the meantime as well. You'd have to turn all the signs, all the road signs are laid out, all the stop signs are all on the ground, all of the motorways are laid out the opposite way around. So it can be done, but the expense will be absolutely enormous. But it certainly could be done, as we're the only ones left now driving that side of the road. Sean Lee, hi Bob, I bought a second-hand car from a main dealer in NI before Christmas. The car was first registered in the UK. Am I going to clear? I am going to clear it during the week. I'll let you know how I get on. Keep in touch with that one, Sean, please. I'll be interested to see what happens as to what you're actually going to pay, because that seems to have creeped up on people. That seems to just come up out of nowhere, that if it's first registered in the UK, it's going to be incurring an import duty. So find out what your import duty is. And the FX7, I bought my last 3 cars from new. I'm now going to buy second hand. The pricing system is crazy. Almost like they're getting rid of the lower tier car buyer. They seem to be getting rid of Insure. And honestly, I see it. I see it a lot. People who want to get on the ladder of driving a car, they want to get started somewhere, or they're trying to upgrade into something relatively nice, and they can't make it. They're just kind of screwing themselves up every time because the price has gone up every single year. And every press conference I've been to over the last 10 years, every time you sit down, the first thing that happens is they talk about price. And they talk about all the new kit to put on the car, but the price walk has gone up by 1,200 quid. It's gone up from the last model by 1,300 quid. And that's every year. So every year they've done that. So cars have already been going up all along. In the background, cars have already been rising up very slowly. Then we had WLTP, which has driven the price of cars up again. Then we had Brexit, which has driven the price. Now we have another VAT thing that's just going to keep going up until eventually we all just get a bicycle and leave it at that. Or buy some really cheap old Nissan Leaf and just drive that around for a while. Answering the question, there's a fella in the chat called Captain Stupid Bollocks, which is something that I coined a phrase on TikTok, and we made t-shirts and hoodies, and it's been a huge uptake of the amount of people who use that now to slag other people off, which is really good. We even had stickers for Windows. Colin McNulty, hi, try filling up a tractor with diesel, scary, hundreds of euros. I know, yeah, and you only realize that when you're filling up a commercial vehicle, like big fuel tanks with diesel, then you realize how much road diesel is and how much agricultural diesel I'm sure is as well. It's very expensive now for fuel, for diesel, and we don't, at the moment, it's coming, but we don't have a replacement for the diesel parts for commercial purposes. We'll also have to look into the political aspect of that, because you have VAT that you can claim back on commercial vehicles when it has diesel. Dave Cook, I've never seen one, don't know what that is. Mick Brown, you've got a lot of Toyota AE86s in Ireland. Lucky because you kept my one after 12 years of enjoying it. We do have a few AE86. They're fetching insane money is the problem with the AE86 at the moment. Hugely desirable by younger drivers who want to get going on it, and they really like the idea of them. But the money they're fetching is just insane, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to afford them very soon. Tony Amar's in the house. Hi, Tony. Paul O'Connor as well. Remember to like, comment and share. Yes, please. Like, comment and share. You're very kind. 335 people watching right now this very second who are all going, this guy is talking about tax. Mark Turner Smith's in the chat as well. There is moderators in the chat there, lads. If you want to join in at any point, it's fine. There's moderators on both TikTok and YouTube. It means they're reading ahead of me. I will get your question. You need to answer it. We'll ask it once. It's fine. I will get there on YouTube. If you want to ask questions, I'm on YouTube. Thanks very much. Michael Strachan, what's your opinion on grip control in new Peugeot 2008? You tested it recently on various surfaces. Does it work on snow? It does. It's kind of, grip controls are kind of a weird one. It's like an advanced ABS. It's not ABS. It's hard to explain exactly what it does. It's not four-wheel drive. It's just diverting power between the axles to try and get one wheel to work to the other. And it does work. On snow, I would suggest the most effective thing is all season tyres. Being honest with you, on any car, forget about 4x4 or otherwise, all season tyres will do a far better job on snow and ice surfaces. Then it doesn't matter what the car is. It's irrelevant whether the car is big, small or indifferent, or whether it's a Land Cruiser. It's still going to be the tyres that keep the grip on the road at all times. And I do recommend anyone buying tyres in Ireland right now, all season tyres will do a much better job than anything even remotely like winter tyres, and particularly those summer tyres people keep buying, which are completely useless at this time of the year. You might as well be driving on slicks. But all season tyres do a really good job. The grip control is actually pretty good in Peugeot. You don't know, they when they had us overseas, we were testing it in sand and soft sand and all kinds of things, and really did a good job at getting you moving again. But would I recommend it for snow? I would say you're better off with the all season tyres. Mick Brown is live answering. Thanks, Mick, but I don't know what you're in relation. He says not in agreement with you. That's okay, you don't have to agree, but I don't know what that's in reference to. It could have been 20 minutes ago. I'm answering questions from, and the time isn't even showing. Why is the time showing? Hold on. Toggle timestamps. 2:28, so I'm nearly half an hour behind you. I am sorry. I will catch up with you as much as I can. Mick Brown is there. Jeff Carter, I missed your documentaries. Any plans for new ones 2021? By the way, what happened to your rants on bunker oil? I have two documentaries lined up. One is about road fatalities, which is being researched right now. We're pulling in data from all over the world on that one, an odd one. Also, the local Gardaí here want to do a video with me about road safety, which is definitely going ahead. We're going to do that for TikTok as well. And I have another couple of fun documentaries laid out as well, and educational ones about the history of stuff and how we lost all our trains in Ireland, and how all the train stations, all the train tracks were pulled up, and why they were pulled up, more importantly, and who did it, who signed off on it, what was the purpose behind it. We had the best rail network basically in Europe at the time when it was all set, you could go pretty much anywhere in this country to pretty much anywhere else just by train, no problem. And we basically ripped the whole lot up. Now we only end up with kind of 2 rail tracks. And the other part of that is we actually had a tram system already in Dublin. It was there. My mother had a picture of herself on the tram system in Dublin at home from when she was a nurse. And that would have been the late 50s, early 60s, somewhere around there. It was already there. Dara Altimas. Well, Bob, 3 2-litre S-Line S-Tronic versus Mark 7 GTD GSG. I would go with the Mark 7. I have a real soft spot for Volkswagen Golf Mark 7 and Mark 7.5. I think it's probably 2 of the best cars that Volkswagen ever produced. In all their guises, GTD, GTI, the Golf 4, the standard just 1.4 litre Golf, all of them were absolutely superb. And I tend to favour it over any car of that era when you're looking at hatchbacks. The only exception to that is the Skoda Octavia around the same year, but it was based on the same chassis, same engine, so that's why probably I like it so much. Andy McPhee, at this Sandero entry model UK price at today's exchange rate is 34.04% less on the road than in the Republic of Ireland. So it's just an additional levels of tax over the levels in the UK pay the same for the same car. So 38.04% less. Buy it in the UK. This is where I get upset now because we're being ripped off then if that's the case. Anyway, Tony O'Mara, car insurance is a joke in this country. Got a quote from my 2009 Avengers Estate. Got told it was gone into the 10 to 15 year bracket with the 300 added on the privilege. Cowboys. Wow. My car's, in fairness to my car, I have a 15-year-old car. It's insured with, I don't remember, Aviva, maybe. No, it might be AXA. One of them. And I got no penalty for being a 15-year-old car. Now, I think it's because I bought the car new. I am the only owner in that car since new, and I think that might be actually standing to it and that it hasn't changed hands. I think if I sold that, the next person would be penalised for being 15 years old. 16 years old now. Still a good car, still goes, sits out there all day long, goes whenever we wanted to go. Costs next to nothing to run because it only goes uptown and back. Tax is the biggest expense on that car. Man Kozeb, who is a channel subscriber, thank you. Say it me seems to only be available in the UK, not in the VW Skoda me review on recent electrifying video. Yeah, it is. The mini E cars, the small cars, the Say It Me, the Skoda Citigo and the VW Up all came out as electric at one point, and none of them were brought into Ireland. I'm not entirely sure why. They said it was because of price, but it seems weird, doesn't it, to say it was because of price in electric cars. I'd like to see that kind of thing coming. They're great to have that kind of choice in the market. Would be wonderful. John Boy says this live. Tis, yeah, you're watching it live, yeah, but unfortunately I am answering questions from 2:30, so I'll catch up on this though, it'll be okay. Mini Eggs, if you have a PHEV running in EV mode and turn up the heater, does it start the engine? Not when it has power, no. When you put it in EV mode, it will stay in EV mode for everything. And in actual fact, most electric cars and PHEVs use a different kind of heating system than pulling it from the engine. Hybrids now, they still pull it from the engine. So you get into a Corolla and start it up, the engine will come on to heat up. It does use a supplementary heater to do some of the work, but in a PHEV it uses a heat exchanger essentially, which is it's using electric means to heat up the cabin. But the engine will start. You could run a PHEV for up to 6 months and not actually start the engine. It might not start under very particular circumstances, but it doesn't need to start. It'll start itself once every 6 months for sure. Andy McPhee, Paul O'Connor answering each other's questions. Hey lads, 290 watching, 35 likes. Just a reminder, that's just 326 watching now, and there's 132 likes. Can you all take the bleeding like button? Thanks. And share the lives and do all that usual stuff. And make sure you follow while you're here and turn on notifications, because it does mean you will get a notification rather than waiting for my tweets or something to come out about videos that are being sent out. It'll notify on your phone. If you're not getting notifications, it's because you've turned off notifications for YouTube on your phone. That's why, it took me ages to figure that one out as well. Anyway, John Boy, what's your thoughts on 2005 Octavia 1.9 TDI? It's old now, John Boy, BHOY. It's an older car, still a good car. It's a big car. At the time, it was probably the biggest car you could buy. The engine is really noisy of that year, but it's very fuel efficient. The one I drove, a 2010 one, I think, or something on the channel here. We drove it a couple of times. Lovely looking York. They're a really, really good car, exceptional yokes, but it is getting old. It's long in the tooth now. It's 15, 16 years old. Just be aware that you might have to get insurance on that, number one, and number two, that it will not have as much life left in it as you might think as a daily driver. Like David G, yep, Brexit is an unmitigated disaster for all but the very few, the elite breed of English folks. It does look that way when you're looking at the UK situation right now and the way that they've done the deals. The deal is very heavily towards the EU side of the deal, and it seems getting in out of the country. I'm still wondering, I didn't check to see, is it possible, do we need a what do you call it, a visa or something to go over to the UK now? I'm just wondering, that never occurred to me until today. Do we need some sort of travel document or something, aside from maybe a vaccination document or some crap like that? But do we need a travel document to go over to the UK now, or is it just like slip in and out like we used to, which is the old way? Because there's still lots of people who work in the UK like daily. I used to meet guys on the airports multiple times that worked in the UK, and they would travel near enough every day there. For the record, I'm Welsh, says David G. Mark Turner Smith, the news of 2021, lads. The KLF has released all their music again in full HD, including the videos. All streaming platforms. They ever fell out with the music industry at the end of '92, deleting everything. Wow. Okay. Thank you, moderator Saucy Roll, who's still doing the moderation job over there. Saucy Roll is on the TikTok and the things, watching stuff over there. I will get to TikTok at some point, but you can join me live over on YouTube if you want to over there. Make sure you're subscribing again here. Thanks very much. Probably a certain age group understand that what KLF is. Yeah, I can't play it here, but I know what KLF is. All right. Dave Davis, the way to go is buy petrol and diesel now, and then in 2030 buy electric. That's what will actually happen. I suspect that's what's really going to happen, is people will drive their petrol and diesel car till 2030, and then just at 2030 just go electric. End of story, and then leave it at that. Connor Crowley, Happy New Year, Bob and all. Interested in your opinion on PCP. I saw a report by Fran McNulty and RT a few days again. 20% of new cars are ROI now bought on PCP, and my second round of PCP, I'm happy with it. If PCP is good, if you can make it work for you, so if you're in a good secure position and there's no problem with your finances, and you're happy to do this swapping over to a new car every 3 to 5 years, you'll have no problem with PCP. But a lot of people are being sold PCP when they're not being sold other finance. So when they get rejected all over the place for normal finances from their bank, they're walking in and they're getting this idea that PCP is going to be a cheap buy, or they're just scraping in, and they're not understanding that in 3 years' time there's going to be a big bill and you're going to have to pay it, and if you don't pay it, then you default in your finance, or you have to hand your car back. So what Fran was pointing out is that we're 20% of new cars, which is a remarkable amount of new cars on PCP, but that hides the fact that other cars are being bought without PCP. They're being bought on car loans and car finances from banks that are nothing to do with PCP. So there is another probably 10 to 15% on top of that that's financed in the country. So nearly half the cars on the road that are being bought on finance. The bill is quite big and very scary. That's where we went with the housing crash, you know. That's vinegar and water. It's very good for your voice, but it's quite hard to drink when you're actually thirsty. Mick Daly, taking a woman last week where she applied to get her new car under disability scheme and only used it around the city, and EVs are not allowed. Do you think they would be stopping ICE cars? They got it. EVs not allowed. It seems like a crazy thing for a scheme like that. It seems unusual to see that EVs be excluded, since that's what we want to push towards, is to have more EVs on the road. So the idea of taking them away at that point seems kind of crazy. Does anyone else have that experience? For Mick, he was talking about mobility schemes under disability schemes. Mobility schemes, I think they're called. Is it true that older Octavia is better built than Passat? It's debatable as to whether one was better than the other. Skoda made quite a name for themselves over the years about their quality build, and they kept it up for a long period of time, and now they're at a point where they're nearly level with Volkswagen on sales. You know, people have stopped laughing at Skoda and started taking it seriously now at this stage. It was more their advertising, I think they did to get a job. John Boy, cheers, probably about Fabrice Lee, looking to buy an electric car. How is this a 2020 i3 at 50k? Does half the range with similar size Zoe at what, 30k? i3 battery was smaller to start off with. i3s were very expensive. I actually prefer the Zoe in fairness, for an electric car, I tend to recommend a Zoe these days. I had the Zoe 50, I think it was a 50 or something I had recently, and it just did everything I wanted to do. It's just a lovely car, just really nice, no problem with range, not plugging in the whole time. And the side benefit of that was, at a 22 kilowatt charger, it actually charged at 22 kilowatts. The rest of them don't, they all do 7.5. So at 22 kilowatts means you may never actually need to plug into a fast charger. I'm sure that still goes on. I hope it does. But electric cars are very expensive at the moment. They're highly desirable. New cars are very expensive, but also used cars are holding up big value because people are buying into used cars. There's not many of them out there, so they're holding a lot of value. It will go down, and later on this year you'll have more choice of electric cars to buy from. There's a ton more coming onto the market for sure. Frozen says, my 1.9 Superb is still running great with like 480,000 kilometers. Gave it away for free though, impossible to insure. I know, once they get old and you sell them, they can't be insured by anybody. But that, I think that Skoda gave me a Skoda Octavia, and I can't remember what year it was, 2005 or 6 or something. It was an older one anyway. That has 800,000 miles on it, I think, at this stage. Like, it's huge mileage on it. We were supposed to hook up and do a job with that thing at one point of the year, but it never went ahead, unfortunately, because of lockdown. No, you put a 111 when you're taxing it. I don't know. Nathan says, hi mate, how do you think the country will recover financially after COVID? It won't. It won't. It's going to take years. It's going to take EU money and years, because what businesses are going to recover from this? Every time a business wants to plan for next month, they're told they have to close again. They open, they put everything in place that NEFIT says, and then they're told to close again. And this just happens every single month. This has happened every single month since last March. We're nearly 12 months into this. It was essentially this day last year was diagnosed or something. It was COVID was actually as a novel virus, all that stuff. That was this day last year. So we're a year into this thing and nearly 12 months into lockdown. The recovery from this is going to take a very, very, very long time. Just to get new businesses and new things moving forward and new money coming in. How do you know as a small business that opening up tomorrow as a restaurant or a cafe or whatever it is that's your thing you're opening up for, how do you know when you open you're not going to be told in a month's time, well, we have another virus and it's time to close again and we can't operate, and it just keeps going all the time. So it's going to take a long time for trust to recover. Do you see yourself in a pub in 6 months' time, sitting arm to arm like we were 12 months ago, having a chat to the guy beside you? Do you think that's going to happen just in that short period of time, or is it going to take longer? Will you take the vaccine? There's the other part of that as well. A lot of vaccine talk at the moment, a lot of people going on about what they're going to do with vaccine. I get asked that pretty much every day. Will I take the vaccine? I probably will. I'd be the first in the queue at the moment. If it meant I could go to the pub and have a pint on Saturday evening, I'd love to. I'd watch a football match. I'd like a house party. You know what I mean? These things, all these things would be lovely if we just move forward with it. Paul O'Connor, as we know, we are all screwed on these car tax and insurance. Yep. Is there a lobby body or anyone else that we can subscribe to try and change things? Not so far, there isn't. Not so far. There was a couple of breakaway ones. If I remember, there was a group of dealers who got together recently to talk about the emissions charges and VRT and NOx charges and that sort of stuff. I remember what they were called now. They'd sort of disappeared for a bit during lockdown, but they're still there. They were making quite a bit of noise. The change to electric being driven and all that. But unfortunately, the change to electric and the change to low CO2 movements at the moment has come up to the point that we're going to be fined by the EU if we don't meet our emissions targets. That's definitely coming. I think we're going to end up paying the fines anyway. But I don't know. I don't think there's a lobby group at the moment that's going to change that. If we're going to lobby on anything, of course, it would be VAT would be number one, and VRT would be the other one. Because a car these days, I don't think anymore is a luxury item. Just me. I don't think we should charge a luxury thing. I think cars should have their own level of VAT. And that's just my own thinking, because I think cars at the moment are very necessary for people. We're being driven further and further away from cities where the work is. Like most jobs, you go to LinkedIn or go to a job site and just put in looking for work in Laois. There might be 5 jobs, and half them are go to China to teach English, and the other ones are in a voluntary scheme. I've done it. Like you go in and you're looking, it's some sort of voluntary thing they want you to do. So there's no work in this county. So what happens is people go to Dublin for work, but to get to Dublin from here, they need a car. There is no alternative. There's no way they're going to be able to find a way to get there in any sort of normal time by using a bus service. Alex Theodore says, for category A, B and W license, you generally can renew online. For C and D license, you need to go to the NDLS due to medical certificate requirements. Also notice that the NDLS moved their theory test for commercial things online. The whole theory test is, and yet they don't do the driver theory test online. Seems mad to me. Fast to Move, we're back to Fast to Move. It's okay, don't worry about Fast to Move. He's apologised for an awful lot of things. We've come to an agreement. It's alright, don't worry about it. And given the increase in taxes to purchase a vehicle will create a large percentage drop in sales for a sector already on its knees. Who benefits? The tax system benefits. The only benefit I can find in the entire system is the tax system. That's it. The revenue is the only one that seems to benefit out of this. Which is an unusual thing, because normally you want a government to do something on behalf of you. You know what I mean? That's what they should be representing us the whole time, instead of representing businesses or taxes. Because car taxes already, the taxes across the car sector is gigantic. The amount of money we pay already, not just the end user, but dealerships, insurance companies, petrol, diesel, electricity, all these things are going to all start to add up very, very quickly and become something that is a proper bill for you to do. And when we all shift over to ride electric scooters or electric bicycles, they're going to have to find a way to tax that stuff as well. We're going to have to find a way to tax electric cars too, as they become more popular. If electric cars are 50% of the market right now, hardly any tax is going to get paid, because all electric cars are in tax band A. So that's the only tax really they pay. They don't pay fuel, excise duty, they don't pay for any of that stuff. It's all charged at home. How are they going to get all that money back to the government? This is just the logical end of me coming out trying to figure out what the government's intending to do with our futures. Because we have a long way to go, lads. This isn't going to be over next year. Like Garrett Talbot says, if buying a second-hand VW Touareg, check the drive shaft has been replaced, known weak point, sister replaced 2 before 90,000 miles, part around €700. Jesus, never used it though. I see another man the other day tell me that his Volvo rear tail light went and he had to get it replaced with it's an LED unit of €700 to replace the tail light. It's just gone. €700, lads. That'd make your eyes water real quick, wouldn't it? Yes, you're right on euro prices, Bob. Bought a new Renault Kadjar in Spain. Zen configuration, has the most bells and whistles for 25,800. Would that make you weep? Let me just look that up just for the buzz of it here. We'll just look at Renault. I can't type around my keyboard. Renault Ireland. I accept all your cookies. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Vehicles. So Kadjar, any prices? Build yours. I'm sure it'll have to. There we go. There's our price. Okay, hold on a second. Let's have a look at that just for the buzz of it. So you paid on your system, you said 25,800 for the top model, for the best model there is. The S edition looks to be the best model here, 32,295 without any option. That's with Panorama, this option here at the bottom. So 25 to 32, so $6,000, about 6 to 6 and a bit grand in the difference in price, and the model is probably different. It's probably not the same level of model at all. And I'm not hating on Renault here, it's just that's the price that came up on the Renault side. That's the price that he's after quoting there. Dave Davis, thanks Dave for that. That's a good piece of information to know, buying it in Spain. Rarb says, hi from Malta. Although the UK are out of the EU, it's still cheaper for us to get new used cars in the UK, even though we have to pay VAT now. Local main dealers will rip you off with sky high prices. Yeah, we have to pay VAT, but we also have to pay VRT, which the VRT is just being thrown on top of that again. So we have to pay kind of double tax on that. We paid 2 taxes on fuel as well. Rocks for you 1990. Is it true that there is new legislation being introduced for September for 4D, 3D number plates? There will be, yes, there will. Might be before December. The 3D number plate is something that's becoming more prevalent. I've seen it around a good few times now. It's the colour is the problem. The colour of the license plates are set by EU. The colour of the license plate and the flags, it's all set on EU level. So the flags or the license plates we have a specific font, and it's actually a really specific font. You can find it on the RSA website. If you go beyond that font, you can just be pulled over for it, and you end up with penalty points and things as well. So they start searching your car after that. It really can be very quick. Leon Morris just joined the 245. He said, what happened to VRT? Nothing just yet, but they've added taxes to import cars from the UK at the moment. And you go on chat roulette later. Well, yeah, we'll see what we can do later on. As long as I'm there, but a ban again, it'll be okay. Either chat roulette or I'll do the Omegle one, which is also possible. Aid says 300 watching, only 100 likes. Hit the like button. There's 314 still watching, waiting for me to go and go to quote him in the newspaper tomorrow. That's going to happen next. Colin May, hey Bob, what do you make of a Kia C 2009 1.6 diesel first car? A 1.6 diesel is a bit high powered. I know that's not much power, but 1.6 is where you get nailed. It's kind of over 1.4 and it starts to become expensive on insurance. But if you have it worked out, the car itself is fine. It's fine. Those 1.6 diesels are grand. No problem with them at all. I'll just stalk you here too. There's Molly Mooney. Hi Molly. How's it going? Molly's got a YouTube account. Nice. It's good to have you, Molly. You can stalk me anywhere. It's fine. Ian Mason. You look good in HD, Bob. Belated Happy New Year for Essex. I love that. You look good in HD. I don't feel good in HD. I try not to look at it. Over that side of the screen is my OBS thing, which shows me live, and it's like, I'm not looking at that anymore. Put on a filter. Kevin Naboo, any tips? I had a crash when I was 18. It was my fault. I'm now 20 now. Not long will that crash stick with me to impact my insurance. Anyways, to help me get down early. Usually 5 years is the record limit that they hold on to it for. After 5 years, it's normally expunged. But sometimes you have to chase it up to make sure that it's actually been done for you. 2 years is a long time to get around to 2 crashes, but you haven't had a crash since. But it does hang about like a bad smell on your insurance. Even with credit ratings, it's kind of the same. It's 5 to 7 years on your credit rating if you default on a loan. So there's always an length of time these things have to be pushed off your account. So you're talking about 5 years, and there's no way of getting rid of it earlier. No, nothing. It's a collision of some sort. Even if you're collided into, it can often stick in your record. Niall Curban, hey Bob, thoughts on a rear view camera? I have front dash cam 522 GW. Rear view camera is very good, as long as you don't watch the bleeding thing while you're driving along. But it's very good. Obviously, being overtaken, being tailgated, it shows up very quickly on your rear view camera. The next base cameras are the only cameras I really put emphasis on because they do what they're said in the tin. They actually work and they're supposed to be pretty good. And I have a next base that I use all the time. It's in the car, it's in the Leon at the moment. I think I might put it back into the Yaris tomorrow. But I always use it on my drives, and it's very good, and it holds on to the footage forever. And just put a 128 gigabyte card in it and forget about it. You don't have to think about it after that. It just works. But there is many other Chinese cameras that have been sent to me over the time, and I know some of these have won them in competitions. I've given most of them away, but I will have more competitions later on this month for another dash cam, which I've actually been sent to as well. There's loads of them. Niall Kerwin, hey Bob, what thoughts on did it one? Ram says a review of the Mercedes GL. Let's have a review of the Mercedes GLC 300E. Did I have one of them? Don't know. Any Chinese cars coming? There's loads of them, John. There's going to be loads of those Chinese cars. Now, I'm reviewing the MG fairly shortly, I hope, depending on lockdown, which is the first of those Chinese cars to come. But you're going to expect to see names like Dongfeng and Brilliance and all these other brands of cars that are trying to get into the European market. Because the European market for electric cars is actually quite high. Worldwide, it'd be quite high. US is right there with us, but European people are choosing electric very quickly. And the Chinese don't want to miss out on that. So you're going to see a lot more Chinese brands coming to the country. Molly says, hi Bob, Tommy wants a camera to start a YouTube channel. What do you recommend? Depends what he wants to film. If he wants to film something really straightforward, I would go straight in for my phone. And being honest with you, I have an iPhone 10 that has a 1080p camera on it, 4K camera on it, films at 60 frames a second, and it's in my pocket all day long. So it's the best camera to start out with. You find the limit of them fairly quickly, but it wouldn't stop me one bit to even think about that. After that, action cameras like GoPro Hero 8s and the Sony X3000s, those kind of cameras, those are the ones that are point and shoots. There's no focusing, no messing on them. They just work, and most YouTube channels these days are running these kind of smaller action camera type things. Only bigger YouTube channels would bother buying something like a Canon like I use, or any of those kind of cameras. Get going on what you got first rather than spending a whole lot of money on something you don't need. Annie McPhee says the average person genuinely considered an EV needs to just stop and take a look at their daily and weekly mileage currently and stop fixating on one time 5 years ago to drove to France. I know, yeah. It's the same argument. It's funny when EVs started first, people go, until it can do 300 miles, I'm not going to buy one. And then it does 300 miles. Then they go, oh, until it does 500 miles, I'm not going to buy one. Now to do 500 miles. Now it's 800. You know, it just goes up every time. There's always an excuse. But they can't drive to Cork and back in the same day. Yeah, no, but I don't often drive to Cork and back in the same day. Although I did recently, believe it or not, which is kind of weird, just for work. Thoughts on the Renault Megane Grand Tour 1.3 TCE? 1.3 TCE? What's that one now? I'm going to have to look that one up. I'm unfortunately on the Renault website. That's handy. Not Kadjar. We want to go back into vehicles and Renault, what is it? Renault Megane. I don't know, it's a 1.3 in the Renault Megane. No, I don't see a 1.3 in that. There's a TCE. I don't know what they don't even show the engine sizes anymore, did not? There's a blue, that's going to be 1.5 or 1.6 DCI, but the TCE, I don't know about 1.3. Renault Meganes are a good car. Like, I don't have a problem with Renault Meganes in general, to be honest with you. They do a really good job at what they want to do, but it depends. The Grand Tour is the estate one, but it depends what you want to use it for and how often you're going to use it. X-Rocker says, thoughts on a Honda Civic 8th generation Type S. They're good cars, Jen. Really nice. I don't really like the look of what Honda's doing with their exterior design, and particularly their infotainment system. I think it's awful. Looks really cheap on the inside, but the car itself drives very well. Colin McNulty has rejoined. He's back. You missed everything, Colin. You missed all kinds of things that was going on at the time. The solution to change to the other side of the road, left-hand drive, like the rest of Europe, I believe the Republic will at time zones in line with the rest of Europe since Brexit. We could just ignore that the UK exists, the island exists entirely between us and France. Let's just meet up with France. Automotive is in the chat. Hi Bob, with the current lockdown in the UK, we've been told not to drive anywhere, yet the road tax reminders still come. I know, it's the same here. We have changed our road tax now to be an environmental tax. So you pay based upon your CO2 emissions. Even if you're not driving, you pay on your CO2 emissions, which of course you should change to fuel. You should be taxed on your fuel, not on your CO2 emissions from the back of your car, because the more fuel you use, the more CO2 emissions you put out anyway. It'd make more sense to put it onto fuel. Calling for that for years. Mini Eggs, do you think Skoda and VW will ever do their own version of the Audi Vorsprung edition? Basically a car with all the options ticked. Makes a great use to buy, or maybe the Hyundai Kia fixed spec 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. It's packs now. It's because of VRT and because of the way the taxation system works, they have to do packs. So essentially you have to buy a car with the whatever pack put on, the Play pack, the Ionic pack, the RS line pack. They're a pack of things. So you can't just tick whatever option you want. But I'd imagine that they could easily do a top spec version of any one of those cars just on ticking a box, but it would have to be its own pack as well. Raymond Grace, afternoon Bob, electric cars are heavier than diesel and petrol cars. Do you think they'll be harder on tyre wear? It seems to be not. Research says that they're not really that much harder on tyres than they were before, because there is specially developed tyres for electric cars. But I would suggest that weight is the enemy of absolutely everything, and that would be including wear and tear. So a heavier car would need harder suspension and need heavier shock absorbers and bigger tyres to withstand the extra weight. So you'd think that it should be harder on wear. Most cars that are really hard on wear are hard because the drive goes to one wheel or the other. So BMWs can be hard on rear wheel drive cars because the front wheels have to do all the work, so you end up wearing out the tyres faster because of the way it's driven. But electric cars tend to be front wheel drive or four wheel drive, so it depends which one you buy, of course. But the tyre wear would probably get a little bit heavier, but it looks to be at the moment not really, not noticeable. Sean Lee, see the link at the bottom, info from revenue is about 3 months old, so I don't know how relevant. That's the problem. This is the issue with revenue. It's the same issue all of the time with revenue, is that they put up with the information they've got, but actually the information is continually changing, so they never get the chance to actually fix it. For any manufacturer who suffers from a big drop in UK orders for right-hand drive cars, everywhere else will suffer as the cost reduced less in each batch will also increase. True. Cross 13 says, love the new Citroen Amy. I kind of like that looking as well. It looks really pretty, isn't it? Cute, like. Handy little EV for going around town. 6k outright for 2,650 deposit plus 20 quid a month. Hilarious the way the doors open, different directions each side. You have the same port. I'll bring up a picture because a lot of people probably wouldn't have seen this because I haven't reviewed it because of lockdown again. I always just bring up a picture or something on that one. Citroen Amy. It's on the Citroen website actually. Yeah, accept and continue. Okay, so flick over to that and have a look. That's the Citroen Amy. I know it looks weird in that picture, but it's not as weird as it looks. It's I've seen it up close. Myself and Johnny Smith were actually looking at that thing on a stand one time as well. It's very, very cute. It's just a cute car. Very small, very futuristic. But that's what Citroen do. Citroen do very futuristic things every time they do it. So, but it's meant to be a cheap, affordable car, and that's on the Citroen.ie website. So that's an Irish website we're looking at there. So it is coming. It will be here at some point in the future. When we see it, I don't know when we're actually going to get a go on one. It'll be a whole different ball game. We'll see when it comes out though. It looks good, doesn't it? I really like to look at that car. Tyler Wallace says, what's your opinion on a Honda Civic 8th generation Type 4 1.4? Yeah, well, again, same problem with the Civics. I don't like the infotainment system, and the exterior look of the car is okay, but it wouldn't be to my taste as much as there's other cars that are more my taste, like a Golf or something. But Civics are good. They're very good, very reliable. They're good cars to drive as well. Dylan says, hi Bob, has any of your viewers got a Mark IV Supra for sale? Looking for one, project or running? There you go. Mark IV Supra, I need one of those. Dylan will buy it off you instantaneously. Pay top dollar as well. Hellhound, is there anything stopping you from ordering a right-hand drive spec car from mainland Europe? Would it be cheaper than getting a UK car? I don't know. Is the true answer to that? I'm not sure. I'm sure it'd be cheaper, but you still have to pay the VRT anyway. So you'd still be paying the VRT that's driving our price up here. So that's definitely going to happen. Echoing a growing number of other sentiments reference no longer intend to buy a new car and opt in for used. I have to discourage everyone else from doing the same. I need you lot to take the hit, please. No. Keith Grissom, what's going to happen when the average cost of a new car becomes too expensive for the average family? I would actually suggest, Keith, it's already there. It's just like housing market. They cannot keep going up by 1,200, 1,500 quid a year forever. I think it's already there. I honestly, sitting in that Audi the other day doing a review, knowing I'm sitting in a 40 grand car and it's a 1 litre like 6-speed box. It's nothing special. It's an ordinary car. Should be an ordinary car. I mean, if you look at, let's just take a crack at Kia, Kia.ie, right? If you look at Kia, so Kia would be what I would class to be an ordinary car, okay? Just ordinary, normal sort of cars that people would buy and run on a daily basis. The price list, conveniently, is already on the screen. So look at where the Rio is, €18,050. Now, a Rio is a small 5-door hatchback. The Kia Ceed is a bigger 5-door hatchback, which is 24,700. And once you start creeping up there into the plug-in hybrid, you're up at 28,450, and the Sorento is 51 grand. The e-Soul is 36 grand. A Sportage for 30 grand. Now they're the ordinary price. That's not the price you're going to pay. That's just the price to buy. That's the invitation to purchase, as it's called. And the invitation to purchase is often very different from what you actually pay when you buy there. But when you start looking at those kind of prices for a new car, and then you start wondering, like at the Picanto, which is the smallest of all 5-door hatchbacks, starting at a shade under €15,000. Where's the 10 grand car gone? That should have been 10 grand. That was 10 grand a few years back. For sure, the Picanto was. The Seat Me was definitely €9,995 to buy. It's gone now, but €9,995 to buy. Think about that for a minute. That's long gone. That's 5 grand from where we started off, and that's just in the last 5-6 years. Derek Norris is in the house. Hi, Derek. Cheyenne Awan, is the new VAT on UK cars just for brand new cars or all cars that is not clear on the department's website? They make it so complicated now. They certainly do. Okay, so the new VAT or the new import duty is for cars that are being brought in from the UK, not Northern Ireland. If it's first registered in Northern Ireland, the new import duty does not apply. The VAT seems to be applying to new cars only. So as far as I can see, any car that's been registered as a new car, so 2021 cars, will have VAT of 21% plus vehicle registration tax applied to them as well. So you'll have both of them. That information is not as current as I'd like it to be, but it's the best I can do at the moment. It's 29th of December 2020. That page was published on the Revenue website. I'll flip back in for the people who haven't been here before. So this is where you'll find it here, Brexit information for individuals. This was published, you see the date on here, 29th of December. It's as current as we're going to get, really, I think. If a vehicle has been imported from Northern Ireland, no duty will apply, but you may be liable to pay this: vehicle registration tax and VAT only in respect of new vehicles, VAT at 21%. So only if the car is brand new will VAT appear on the list, but it's still going to make your car seem very expensive. Jared Carroll, what's the most expensive car you've reviewed, and can you remember? No, I can't remember. On the YouTube channel, I don't know what the most expensive car is. I'd say it's the Audi RS7 that I reviewed last year. I'd say that was close to 200,000 euro, I think. Somewhere around there, 198 grand or something like that, some crazy number. It'd be one of those cars to be in there, maybe an M5 or maybe one of the Range Rovers, I'd say, probably the most expensive. Corey Gaffney, Bob, do you have any mechanic experience? Well, I've fixed a lot of cars over the years. Yeah, I have fixed a lot of cars, but I'm not a mechanic. What's your opinion on lowering springs? They're okay if you want to, but you can get coilover kits as well. Or you can get proper lowering springs. You know, if you actually buy a kit with lowering springs for your car, is much more effective than just taping down your shock absorbers. Mike Connolly, hi Bob. Considering a new VW ID4 which is coming out, which is very expensive, isn't it? I've heard that there are cheaper variants coming out in May. Do you have any advice or opinions? If it's to go about like the ID3 had a long range, a medium range, and kind of a short range one, I imagine they're going to do the same thing to the ID4. I'm not sure what the price is going to be. In actual fact, anyone who's pre-ordered one has probably more information than the press, as Volkswagen are communicating directly with end users now on most of these prices and stuff. I would go for the mid-range one. The long-range one doesn't seem to have a huge difference between them for ID3, but ID4 I'm not too sure about. No. Tom Enright, hi Bob, first time listening. Thanks Tom. Make sure you subscribe and follow and share and like and do that stuff, you know. I'm thinking of changing my car and I'm torn between a Skoda Superb 1.5 TSI or 2-litre petrol Mazda 6. Which one would you recommend? Thanks. I have a real soft spot for the Skoda Superb. I do like it. It's very soft to drive. I find it very soft on the back shocks, but it will take, it's basically a van. You're basically buying something as big as a van. It's very big. The Mazda 6, the 2-litre petrol, is actually nice. It's not as fuel efficient. I don't find it as nice on fuel as you would think a 2-litre petrol should be. But the Mazda 6 is very nice, but it's a lot more firm. So you buy an estate version of a Mazda 6, you're going to get a car slightly smaller than the Superb, and it's a hell of a lot more firm, but still a really good car. I don't envy your choice between the two. They're both really, really good cars. I would, because of my soft spot for Skodas, I think Skodas do a really good job over the years. The Superb 1.5 TSI would suit me down to the ground. But I'd like a Mazda 6 2-litre petrol automatic as well. It's quite nice. I'm in agreement with you. Start moving to left-hand drive, says Philip Gunn. You're dead right, Philip. That's what we should do. Or just give me 2 weeks off so I can stay inside, out of the way, while we have natural selection on the road as people, you know. It'll sort itself out in the end. There'll be not even enough collisions after a couple of weeks. There's Joyce O'Grady in the chat. Hi, Joyce. Long time no see, Joyce. Been a while. Stephen Bailey. Just waiting for my new Toyota Prius PHEV. I've made a mistake. It looks good on paper and video, not actually touched one or sat in one yet. It's a plug-in. The Prius it's an oddball looking car, Prius. I find it a little bit strange. But I kind of like them. In a weird sort of way, I like their quirky look. The PHEV one now has quite a small boot. That would be my problem with those PHEVs. So to get PHEVs to work, they have to still put in more batteries. So they put in bigger batteries, and they intrude into the boot space a little bit. So it can be a little bit of a weird one to lose the boot space. That was the last one I tested. It's been a while since I tested a Prius though. It's got to be a few years at this stage. John Joe, hi Bob, I was just wondering what questions you expect on a driving test. What questions you expect on a driving test? I've no idea. You mean the theory test or the driving test? Which one? Because I don't think there's a whole lot of questions on the driving test other than where things are under the bonnet and do you have your tax and insurance. You know, the number one cause for failing a driving test is not turning up. The second one is not having an NCT cert or some cert on the front window, one of the discs on the front window. They account for far more fails than actually failing. And the three most failed things on the driving test is speed, progression and observation. They're the three most failed things that are actually doing while you're driving. But a hell of a lot of driving tests don't go ahead because the person doesn't turn up for it. I think it's like 6% or 7%. It's quite a lot. Paul Davis is from Liverpool. How are you, Paul? Turfert. Any thoughts on reliability of BMW N57 engine, the 3-litre diesel BMW 640D? It's my favourite engine BMW make. Reliability wise, the same as pretty much everybody else. Parts wise though, if you do actually need something, BMW is quite heavy on parts, quite heavy on part prices. And when something goes wrong in BMW, the way they build all of their engines has been complicated over the years. They can be very expensive because it requires a ton of work to get in around the engine and actually work on it. So they can end up being quite expensive after the fact, not because they're unreliable, just because they're driven hard by people who like to drive. That's what happens to BMWs as well. Ryan laughing, I don't know the Prius can plug in. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could buy the Prius and the Prius plug-in. There's two of them that was out there. And I've seen, what's the Prius hydrogen one called? It's like a Prius, but it's not a Prius. It's called something else. So they do come in a plug-in version, but that didn't really sell it here. It was quite expensive. And you lose so much boot space. You lose a lot. It ends up just being like a shelf. Pat Roach, hi Bob. I'm just going to be changing our Golf soon. What would you recommend? 2 adults, 2 kids, budget about 22k. Well, we just looked at Kias there for 22k. What do you get for 22k? Matter of interest for the crack. 2 adults and 2 kids. So 22k is going to be Pro. No, not even Pro Seed. It's going to be. It's not even Seed. It's Stonic. You can get up as far as a Stonic for 22, exactly 22 grand. That's it. Anyway, I'm sure you're looking second hand. I don't really do prices, but there are many dealers in the chat who'd be interested in talking to you. I'm sure there's loads of the boys sitting back going, hang on, what's his details? I'll just give him a ring there. So we can get a car out for 22k. But I don't do prices of used cars because I don't sell cars. I'm not as aware of how much things cost anymore. But there's tons of cars out there in the used car market for 22k, particularly for 2 adults, 2 kids. Look at estate cars. I have a thing about estate cars. People tend to ignore them. Skoda Octavia Estate, Megane Estate. There's so many cars out there that offer tons more room in the back of them for families, for people with muddy boots, bikes on the roof, that sort of stuff. And they're usually ignored because people want to have a small SUV, which is usually more like a 5-door hatchback and much smaller boots. It works out kind of weird. Peacock a lot, haven't heard from you in a while. I have an old Land Rover that is insured as a classic, limited on mileage but cheaper. I won't have people in Ireland locked into this for their old Octavias. Old Land Rovers are very, very popular, and they're gorgeous looking dogs. They really are. But they're seriously popular, fetching big money as well, which is really good. You can put a Land Rover Classic on the road and do a limited mileage agreement with your insurance company, which makes it a bit cheaper. You can do that for older cars as well, but you do have to limit the mileage. If you go over the mileage, you could be in trouble very quickly with your insurance company, so be careful of that one. It goes up crazily fast. No travel doc in the UK, we're part of the common travel area. Good, that should stay. That's okay then, because we do travel a lot to the UK. Shane Houston, hi Bob, hope things are well. Just purchased an imported Seat Leon Mark III FR 184. Absolutely love it. Got insured for over €1,000 at 21. Well done, bloody hell. You did well on the insurance end of it for a 21-year-old for an FR. What insurance company with Shane? Just want to know what insurance company that was. The ones that seem to come out the most with young drivers doing well out of them is AXA and Allianz, and then Liberty will be a third one. It just keeps coming up my channel. I'm not affiliated to either any of those insurance companies, but they're the names that I keep getting thrown at me the whole time. Hugh O'Donnell, vaccination document crap, seriously. I'm telling you, this has already been talked about. Don't think that I'm talking out of turn on that one. That has already been talked about. It's already been talked about it being a stamp in your passport or having some sort of documentation to say you have been vaccinated before you can travel out of the country. That's already been under discussion for quite some time. At the very beginning of the vaccination talks, that came up multiple times. Having some sort of pass, some sort of proof that you've been vaccinated and you're allowed to go wherever you want to go. Seems crazy since I have no proof that I was vaccinated one way or the other when I was a child, which I don't think I was, because I have no marks on my arms or nothing, because I was born in 72. So go back that far, and the vaccination program only came out around 78, so I actually missed it. 78, 79, somewhere around there. Barry Fitzgibbons, hey Bob, quick question. I was looking at a new Tucson a few weeks ago, and they said that Hyundai Ireland won't import Tucsons with Pano Roost because they impact on road tax. Is that true? Road tax is donated by the tax bracket you're in for road tax is donated by its CO2 emissions. I would imagine that the panoramic roof has changed something in the VRT system that's changing it on the CO2 emissions, so your tax goes up a little bit. Yeah, so very possibly it's because of the road tax that they won't import it, because people just won't pay above tax band A to B. Anywhere in that region is where that's the tax bands are going to pay in. They won't buy a car that's tax band C anymore. So if it pushes into another tax band, they probably won't import it, which is crazy. I know you want it, you want to order it, and they're going, no, you can't have it. It's crazy, isn't it? You're the buyer, you're the person with the money, and they're saying, no, you can't have it, because it's just not allowed. Stephen Bailey, the only new PHEV model with a greater, better looking front and back is very confusing. I spent over a week looking for answers. It's the PH4 5S2 model. Huh? PH4, I don't know what that is. Anyway, JP Delvin, you haven't done your Leon review yet. My own Leon, no, it's still sitting outside. It needs a lot of work at this stage. Harry Darren, Flavin Leon review. Y'all want to review my Leon? Thanks, Chris McCartan. Thank you very much. Donation by Super Chat. Very kind of you. I may have missed other people's donations because I'm not live on my phone over there. It's not popping up on the screen. Wait now. Missed where I was now. I lost my page. Green card, Anthony Murphy. Yeah, that's kind of what they were talking about. I've seen much discussion on having a pass to say that you have been vaccinated. Some sort of stamp pass or otherwise in your passport to allow you to leave the country. Not just leave the country, but also be able to do other things, go places, work without masks, all that kind of stuff. It seems insane, doesn't it? But it has been talked about multiple times. Catching up to you now. We're at 3:11 is where I'm catching up to, so I'm still about a half an hour behind. I'm sorry. Keep going though. I'll stay until I answer all the questions. It'll be okay. Garrett Lepina, cheap run around needed for $2,000. Any recommendations? The ones in around $2,000, you want to be looking at something Japanese, something it'll end up being high mileage. So either Korean or Japanese cars when you get down to that kind of price, because anything else like a Kia Rio would be one I throw out there straight away. Hyundai i20, they're pretty good as well. As like you can pick them up reasonably priced back then. Otherwise you're stuck to like Say It Me or Skoda Citygos. Their 1 litre engines are quite small. You won't buy Golfing around that money, but you might find the odd Corolla or maybe a Yaris in there too. Could be the longest term test review. It would be, yeah, it'd be 16 years of a review, that car. Have to say my Leon, even though it's been crashed a little bit, into rear-ended another car, but nothing came of it. No, it's just superficial damage, and the bonnet's a bit bent, so it needs to be sorted out. We never fixed it; we just left it alone because it kept passing NCT, so we didn't touch it. And it's never had any problems. The air conditioning went in year 2, and Waters Garage wouldn't repair it for the air conditioning. That's all that ever happened to it. That was it. Everything else works. Apart from the cruise control, I think doesn't work on it either, but we don't use that because it only goes up to town, so we never fix that either. Tyler Wallace, opinion on Honda Civic. All the Honda Civics are out today, boys. All the Honda Civics are out today. We covered that though. Pat Roach, how are you, Bob? Going to be changing our Golf soon. What would you recommend to? We did that one as well. How do we end up back these ones? Nigel's modelling bench. Just Nigel, I haven't heard from you in a while as well. You're all the old timers are back today. All the boys that come out of hibernation will come back up where they were. Hi Bob, Ranger Raptor man. What a car. Good man. Fucking great car. Honest to God. Anyway, sorry. Still going strong. The 4th recall in 6 months, still a bit of a joke. Security, transmission, DPF, and now exhaust bracket. Oh my God. How new. My very good mate has one as well. He bought it right here in Laois. And he has had problems as well. There has been some issues with the Ranger Raptor for sure. Whether that's manufacturing problems or what's after happening to Ford over time, but it seems to be the Ranger Raptor seems to be kind of played with problems, but it's still a super machine to drive. I love the thing. Absolutely love it. It'd be one of my first buys if I was to win the lottery or something, I'm sure. Dynamic frame. My dealership offered 5-year PCP, and that is the customer's maximum budget. People are really stretching themselves with their sort of products. Is a way for people to get cars outside their budget. It is. We've also sold a handful of 72 and 84 month HP over the years. Whoa, that's a long time. During the Celtic Tiger here, I remember people getting loans for houses and building in a loan for a car into the loan of the house. That's true. That actually happened because my mate did it. And when he told me he'd bought his car from his house loan, I said, you know, how long is the loan? He said 25 years. I go, you're going to be paying for your car for 25 years. How does that work? And he said that, you know, oh, it's okay. It'll be fine. We paid on a mortgage in like a couple of years' time. It'll be okay. You know, the way the house prices are going. And then the crash happened in 2008. And that was 2007 when he said that to me. I don't think he still has the car after all this time. Where do you shop? Where do I shop? You know, Lidl, Aldi, Tesco's, Dunn's, usual places. Ryan laughing. Bob, do you think of a Toyota CHR as an older driver looking for easy access? Yes, as long as you want to get into the back of it or the front of it, Ryan. The back of it is very tight. I do find the CHR quite tight on the back door, but then its competitor, the Nissan Juke, is also tight on the back door, so there isn't really one in there that works. But as a car that's easy to drive and easy to run, I would buy the 1.8 litre hybrid version of it. It's full automatic. It's fine. It's a lovely car. Really nice show to drive. Happy birthday, COVID, says Captain Trooper Bollocks. Thanks, Captain Trooper Bollocks. I'll be sure to remind COVID. Stephen Bailey, Car Wow, yeah. That's Matt Watson's gig over on another channel. Different channel, though. Who was that? Oh, yeah. Annie McPhee. Mono Bob, that high mileage Octavia was a Mark 1 Facelift 2002. That was one. I shared the video the other day on an owners group again. It popped up over 1,000. It's gas, isn't it? How that video caught on to something at some point or another. I'll be linking that video again here at the end of the live stream. Good man. Bob, with the way the UK government's operating, will we need to pass outside of our houses? George Orwell nailed it. Kids spies now are on the cards. I'm telling you, that's right now. It does starting to feel that way. It's starting to feel like we've been told we can't do this, you can't do that, and it's been pushed on us, about us, and it's coming under a safety legislation. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's not safe to go out on the street today, and that's what we're told. And so we don't. We comply, like we're being told to comply, which is okay. And that's what you should do. But at the same time, you can't look back and go, can we not just have a house party? Paul Freeberry, put vaccine in beer and open all the pubs. The virus will be free by Thursday. 24 hours later, the whole place is vaccinated. Honestly, if the pubs open tomorrow, lads, it'll be full. I'm sure. Full to the brim. But would you go? Do you want to get COVID? Because I certainly don't. I'm training for a marathon. I don't want to get COVID. I don't want to be laid low for a few weeks' time. I don't want that at all. Happy New Year, all. Paul Freebury. MacDara Matthews says, hi Bob, what was your first vehicle? It was a Datsun Nissan Cherry. I think it was a 70s Cherry. I can't remember the license plate of it, mind you, but I remember the look of it because it was canary yellow. I mean, properly yellow. You see it coming from a long way. It actually had a 1.6 litre petrol engine under the bonnet, but it was taxed as a 1.3. Somebody switched out the engine at some point and didn't change the tax book. Anthony Love, what a good name. Hi Bob, sorry review of the Hyundai i40 1.7 CRDI Tour from a good while back. It is a while ago now, right? Compared to 1.6 CDTI Opel Insignia a Tour, which would you go for? I would be happier. The Opel Insignia is a bigger car than an i40. i40 is still a bloody good car though. Came with a 5-year warranty. In fairness, I don't like the look of the inside of an Opel Insignia, but I actually like driving an Opel Insignia more than I would for Hyundai. I would probably go for the Opel Insignia. But Hyundai make really good cars, very, very fuel efficient. Cross 13 says, generally we have held up fairly well in Ireland. Economy grew by 1 to 2% in 2020. 80% of people had income rise to stay the same in 2020. It's the 20% in the tourism hospitality who are screwed. That's true, yeah. And I think it'll take a long time for that to come back as well. We did make a lot of money from hospitality and tourism in Ireland, which went to essentially zero for a while as well. Even though people were coming and going, but not in the numbers. Like summer last year was dead, it's gone. All those kind of summer things that would have happened, the tours, the picking up Americans from the airport and bringing them all over the country, that stuff just didn't take place last year. So they're down. But then there's a pent up need to travel for people right now. So I imagine the tourism industry might be able to turn itself back on. If we got a vaccine right now, we could just go pink and be back on normal. Russell Gibbard, hi Bob, £30 road tax and don't he's going to tell me something about the UK price of the road tax, and I know it's going to hurt because our road tax is insane. And yeah, hi Bob, £30 road tax and £360 insurance for 15,000 miles per year on a 2 litre D4D event. It's a sound good deal compared to Ireland. Oh, £30 road tax, lads, £30. I want to lie down. I bet you that would probably be 180 or 200 euro over here for the tax alone, and then the insurance, forget about it. Owen Gallagher, Bob, would you recommend the Kadjar's reliable piece of kit? Kadjar's a really overlooked car. I don't know why we don't see a whole lot more of them. It's huge. Like it's very hard to see a car that's as good a value with as much stuff in it as a Renault Kadjar. I actually kind of like them. Buy them in diesel though. The petrol one is quite hard on fuel because it's a big car. MacDara says, I bought a Dacia Duster in Marbella and all the bells and whistles, you name it, $8,000. You want to make you throw up everywhere? $8,000 for a Dacia Duster. Man, the prices are crazy. Automotive Trade, Bob, the rush to EVs will be stalled by the service departments cannot make money. They require 20% of servicing, so to stay still, garages need to do 5 times as many cars a day. I was actually speaking to a Nissan a mechanic recently who one morning only had a Nissan Leaf check booked in. That's it. That's all he had for the whole day on a Wednesday, and was quite nervous, very nervous about what was coming at the moment, because People don't want to service their petrol cars or diesel cars, and they're after shifting so many electric cars that's all they're really servicing at the moment. What do you think of the new 1.5 ESTSI engine? I don't know. I haven't driven it. I'd like to see myself what it's going to be like. Well, I don't know what that engine is. Lock yourself in a room and work it all out with the new VRT import rules. Make a brief advisory video on how to get it around social media. Be rather popular. Probably would be, yeah. We don't know all the details is the problem, but I can put up, I suppose, a little bit of it. Dara Byrne, I went from a 2008 Ford Fiesta 1.2 to a 1.6 Kia Ceed, and my insurance went down by 500 quid when I was 18. Whoever's asking about a Ceed, that's gas, isn't it? Insurance companies, see, it's not always the engine size. Sometimes certain kinds of cars like Fiestas, Golf, Polo, they're actually nailed by insurance company because that's what young people drive, and young people are higher risk. Gav Bird, what would you think of an Audi A4 2-litre TDI? Would it be dear to insure? Other than that, if it depends on your age. The insurance wise, a 2-litre diesel is okay on insurance, but it depends on your age and your driving experience. Good car though, no problem with that one. Nigel Modjeben says 33 million cars on the road in the UK. If they all average 30 miles per gallon at 12,000 miles per year, that's about £39 billion in fuel duty alone when we go electric. Where's the money coming from? That's a good question. Are you getting a shot of the MG ZS EV on one of the ICE ones, or one of the ICE? Probably an EV, full EV. That's the one I want, actually. Dave Davis, I configured the Irish one too, Bob. 33,459 plus I got all LED all around. The Irish one has halogen. Also got extra grip with all season tires. Gas, and how much things would be changed. Cross 13, planning on driving up to the Arctic Circle in a Model 3 when everything reopens, across to Cherbourg, and then up through Denmark and across the Öresund Bridge to Sweden, then up through Norway. God, that sounds fascinating. Yeah, no problem with that route though. I mean, that whole route would be covered by EV connections, no problem, all the way along, because Nordic countries have been putting them in for a long time. It's kind of the west routes that would be, or east routes where you're heading across France and things. There'd be a little bit less of them. Thoughts on Neo? I like the look of it. Battery swap route for fueling, I don't think is going to work at all. I really have big problems with this battery swap thing people are talking about, and Crosstar team mentioned this to me as well. Like if you buy a brand new Model 3 or a Neo tomorrow, right, and you're driving on the road and you decide that you're going to pop in and get a new battery, and you pull in and the battery you're buying is a year old, what are you going to be happy with that? Are you okay with that? You just bought a brand new car and you're putting a second-hand battery into it. So this battery swap thing comes with a lot of problems, and then you have to store all those batteries. Then you also have to deliver all those batteries on time in a timely fashion. I think the faster way to do this now is to find better ways of charging the cars rather than swapping out the batteries. Renault did this nearly 10 years ago. They were going to do the battery swap system, and it was heralded as being an expected thing. They realised just how big of a job it was going to be to even get near the volume of batteries, and having them the amount in the right places, the amounts of them, who's going to charge them. There's just so much stuff there that has to be taken care of. I don't think the battery swap thing is a good idea just yet. Maybe they'll figure it out, but the thoughts of me buying a brand new car and then driving to a dealership and getting a second-hand battery, and it doesn't fill me full of joy, I have to say. Hi, Hugh Egan, how's it going? Mark Turner Smith, do you think petrol diesel fuel forecourt will ever completely stop in the UK? I know EVs is the future, but so many EV owners have found it all smug saying, laugh, get your petrol while you still can. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, to be honest with you. If the sales fall of petrol and diesel, they'll start to get rid of petrol and diesel pumps. That's exactly what they did with LPG. Same thing they did with paraffin pumps and all these other pumps they had on big forecourts. They got rid of all them, rationalised it down to a smaller amount. I don't think it'll go anywhere though, because they're very profitable. Not necessarily from the petrol and diesel sales, but electric sales to a petrol forecourt are nil. They don't make any money from it. Like very, very, very little. Having one charger out there charging 10 cars a day is not profitable compared to paying 10 cars or 20 cars an hour coming onto a petrol forecourt getting petrol and diesel. So the profit is still in petrol and diesel for the petrol station and in the restaurants and cafes, which is why they're so big these days. Particularly in the UK, you go to a service station over there and you're likely to find a whole shopping centre when you're in getting your petrol, you know. It's a massive business. Afternoon Bob, thought opinion on MX-5 throughout the generation. Love them, all of them. There's many of them on the channel. I didn't do generation 1 or 2, I don't think, but I've driven all of them. Mazda's given us a chance to try them all, so they're a super car. MX-5 is brilliant, totally collectible all year. What's the best car first time learner? Anything under 1.4, just to keep your engine sizes down, you'd be okay. Hugh Egan, what do you think of the Ford Orions? Orions, bloody hell, it's like an Escort with a boot on it. Orions were weird. When they came out, they were very popular though, based upon the Ford Escort underneath. Not a bad looking car in fairness to them at the time. Just depends whether you collect them or not, but they're not a bad looking car, yeah. David G, come on Bob, Renault 1.3 using loads of cars, Nissan, Mercedes, Dacia, brilliant engine. I just haven't paid attention to it, but it was just gone out of my mind. I've been asked about it before. John Gerard, hi Bob, happy new year. What do you think of the new M3 plug-in hybrid and electric cars? They seem to be good value. They do, yeah, they do actually, in fairness to them. They're not expensive, and they're going to be covered in Ireland by a proper dealer network as well. So it's not going to be a sort of a fly-by-night one dealership in the middle of nowhere that's actually selling these cars. It's going to be sold by a good group, like. So they do look good value. I will test them out. I have booked them in, but again, they're booked in for this month again. So I don't know what's going to happen this year as to whether you're going to be able to get. I'm going to be able to get a hold of these cars for actually test them. You know, so it's going to be a problem. Mark Howells Prescott. Good afternoon. Oh, sorry, I missed one there. Civic turned from class hot hatch 1998 type R to a strange looking yoke that's here from the planet Zara. They do look weird. I think modern Civics look a bit strange. Mark Howells Prescott, good afternoon. I haven't seen your name in a while either. It's funny how all the old gang have returned. I'm still a half an hour behind this chat. It's absolutely mad. There's still 272 years watching. It's gas. Good afternoon, Bob. Happy New Year to you and your family. Me living in the UK, left the EU. What do I have to do to visit Ireland once all lockdown has been lifted? You can go where you like. As far as I can see right now, we don't need a permit to visit each other's countries. We're okay. So you should be able to come over on the ferry as normal. But whether that's going to be true when you have your vaccine things and documents, maybe there'll be documents for vaccines you might need, but right now you don't need anything. That's Citroen the ugliest thing I've ever seen. They look better in the real life in fairness to them. Citroen Amy 1 on just 28 miles per hour, such a restrictive vehicle class legislated for ROI. Imagine the fury of folks stuck behind such a thing in the town. You imagine going around Port Leash 28 miles per hour. There'd be murder. Less than 50 kilometers an hour. Driving on the road. It's okay, it's an electric car. Danny, any advice on driving, passing driving tests? Speed, progression, observation. 3 things that everybody in every country fails on, believe it or not. The UK and Ireland, the number 3 things that actually fail all the time is speed, progression and observation. I'm Patman130 on TikTok. You may remember. I do remember your name last night. Yes, I do. Leon Eakin. Well, Bob, do you know if Citroen petrol 2013 engines are reliable? Depends on the car and depends on how it's been treated. Most engines are fairly reliable and Citroen make good ones. Electrics would be the problem on French cars most of the time, more than engines. Scooby-Doo, good. 21% VAT plus possible 37% VRT. Leave the cost of new car at 58% tax. It's a joke. It's a joke, is right. It's like Joe Duffy today, lads. It's like Joe Duffy today. Tell me how much of a joke the tax is. Matthew Cass says, what's the best year car for first time insurance? Under 10 years seems to be the most sweet spot. Like 8 years and under 1.4 seems to be the sweet spot. Bob, any sign of Hyundai Genesis brand showing up in Ireland? No, Billy, there won't. I don't think there will come either. I don't think Hyundai will bring Genesis here. The sales here are so small for Hyundai anyway, without polluting the market with something else. I think Citroen might regret the decision to make DS, and I think Seat might regret the decision to make Cupra for this country. Citroen reneged on an idea of having just Cupra only dealerships. They've now gone into all the smaller dealerships as well, so they're changing their tack at the moment. So I don't think Hyundai want to pollute their market here. And anyway, Hyundai Ireland is a importer rather than being actually Hyundai Ireland, if you know what I mean. I don't mean that as a bad thing to say, but it just means that they can make up their own rules here in Hyundai Ireland rather than being governed by Hyundai Europe. John Buckley, natural selection is the run. I'm telling you, that's what it is, man. Natural selection. Just wait a couple of weeks and everybody will have figured it out, and the ones that didn't figure it out won't be on the road anymore. John Buckley, vehicles imported into Ireland before 1st of January 2021. These vehicles can be registered as normal. You must provide documentation to prove that the vehicle is imported prior to January 1st 2021. There you go. There's your stuff that you need to know for importing a car. Dacia Sandero was still below 10k. It's based on a new Clio, very good car, has lamb rear lights. Those Dacia Sandero, yeah, it's a bit more expensive here. Actually, you just look up Dacia for the buzz of it, right? So we have I accept. Why did it even ask me? What else am I going to do? Our range. So Dacia Sandero in its most basic form here is €11,900. I'll just show it to you there. in its entry-level form. Smarter Super Mini, there it is, €11,900 here, or 101 quid a month. In the UK, it's below 10k. Now, the specs might be slightly different. We don't sell the very entry-level Dacia Sandero. We do sell that one here with the unpainted bumpers and things, but they all have radios, and they all have, there's things in the Dacia Sandero over here that are standard, and in the UK, they can actually do less of them. So, even if I'm going to build yours here, you can see the alternative 11.9, the Signature 13.7. Such good value, aren't they, really? I know, I find it hard. I find it hard to struggle and think and argue against Dacia whenever they come up with stuff, because it's just so affordable. They work. John Buckley, an example of documentation. A ferry ticket. I have to register car this week. It was important in December, and VRT appointment this week, so hopefully no VAT. Toyota Mirai, that's the one. I've seen it. It's been in Ireland. I've seen it here. We don't have any hydrogen stations. One being built in Northern Ireland, I think. Tom Duffy, I would recommend an Audi A4 1.9. It's coming up again. Another Audi A4. They're okay. Yeah, no problem with those ones. There's Aidan Ryan as well. Paul O'Connor, who you calling old? I'm old. Jimmy Penrose. Hi Bob, did you get a chance to watch everything on your Prime Video list last week? No, I've started on Heroes. We started on Heroes. We recommend that. That was pretty good. Was it Heroes? No. The Hero or something like that. We were looking at it last week on Amazon Prime. It's actually pretty good. It's very violent, very sexual, but very good. And we watched... what was the other one we watched? What was that one we were looking at? That was very good. I put a list up on my Facebook page, on the Sunday Service Facebook page, which was a complete list of what we talked about. Primevideo.com. I'll tell you in a minute what I was looking at. TV shows. It's gone out of the list now. Of course it is. Why would it stay there now that I've finished the bleeding thing? You lunatic. We watched a bit of The Hunters as well, which is also pretty good. I quite enjoyed that, actually, in fairness to it. I'm not signed in. That's why it's not showing to me. Hold on. That's why it's not showing me what I've seen already. The Boys. That was the name of The Boys we watched. That was the thing we were looking at. That was really good. I watched the first couple of episodes. That was really good. And the one we looked at as well was Truth Seekers. I highly recommend a video on Prime called Truth Seekers. Really, really good. It's very good. It's the lads from Hot Fuzz and all those kind of guys that are in there. It's really, really good stuff. Look at that one for sure. Adam, why are Range Rovers so popular and so unreliable? Because people want to be driving really popular cars and feel like they're rich, and they're not actually rich. It's the reason that a lot of things exist in Ireland. In a weird sort of way. Constantine, hey Bob, I saw you tested both Camry and Lexus ES 300H. The Lexus is much better, far more refined car. Yeah, more refined. Camry would be a little bit more noisy. But still, both bloody good cars. I would probably buy the ES 300H if I was looking at one of those two cars. Camry's pretty good value in fairness to them. Price of all Land Rovers is crazy. I paid more than 1988 Defender and then did it for 2 years. Superb. That's the thing. The old Land Rovers, the old Defenders and things, they're fetching massive money at this stage. It is against the Geneva Convention to force or coerce a medical procedure. All countries signed up for this earlier in Germany, with Japan did it in World War II. Yeah, but it wouldn't be coercing you to say that if you got your vaccine, you could have a little sticker in your thing to say you got your vaccine. I'm sure that wouldn't be a thing. Anyway, maybe it is. Maybe you're right though. In fairness, Derek Lowry, are you fully qualified to drive a tractor once you get your learner's permit? Fully qualified. You're a learner driver, but you can drive a tractor at 16. I'm fairly sure you can drive a tractor at 16 with just passing your theory test. That will change, by the way. I think legislation is going to come for that eventually. Brian Jones, my mother had a Honda Civic Saloon 2001, had it for 13 years, never gave trouble, built like a brick. They were. The older ones were brilliant. The older Civics, they were invincible. I think somehow that probably came up as a problem as well. Follow me on TikTok, Bob. Hopefully the right account, as a search brought up 3 accounts. But there's 2 of me, actual me. Then there's a few fan accounts which have sparked up as well, which I think one of them's in the chat currently. 54 people over there. There is a few of them over there. One, it's the same logo as I use on YouTube is my main logo over there. All the lads can get it all over the place. Revenue published this on the 7th of January. All right, okay. We're still being updated all the time, are we? Paul O'Connor, is that Irish people have loads more money than other countries? We pay so much more. We don't have loads. Everything's more expensive here. That's the problem we have in Ireland. Everything is really expensive here. I'm slowly catching up in this. Nearly there. Nearly there. It's okay though. VRT and VAT on importing used car from the UK have arrived in the country from 1st of January. Right. Double tax and VRT increases on the 1st of January. Why are motor industry not announced about this? Because the motor industry would just pass on those costs to the buyer. Some of the motor industry is up in arms. Other ones don't care because it just pass it on anyway. It's okay. Well, they do care, but they'll just pass on the price. It's going to be crazy. Cross 13 says they need to split band A out a lot more. They should add 20 quid for every 10 kilograms per kilometre in the range between 0 to 100 grams. I totally agree with you. Totally agree. I think electric cars should stick up in the tax band A1, like the very top of one, whatever the cheapest one is. But everybody else, there should be a step up for every time you buy another one. It would change the price of cars, but also it would make you think more about the price of the car you're buying right now. Mazda 3 worth keeping 2011, running rough, needs an engine or rings. Should I get rid of it? 1.6 TDCi. It's a 2011. That's not exactly a terribly old car, but if it needs engines or rings or something, that could get really expensive, possibly more than the value of the car. Really should be recycled and scrapped at that point. I'd get rid of it. Adrian Nelson, £30 road tax is a distant dream now. New cars get a flat rate of £140 with some first year penalties for daring to like driving, i.e. a 330e costing circa £440 first 5 years. £0 for zero emissions still, I think. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. That money just went up. That escalated quickly is the answer to that one. I'm 0 road tax for 1.6 diesel in a 1 series. Whoa. Adrian Ryan says at 1.2 Fiesta 08 first car, will I get insured? Yeah, no problem. Should be okay. I had a blue Ford Orion, good car. Callum Herbert, 1.2 Vauxhall Corsa as a first car is a good choice. Yes, that's a good car. There you are. You're starting in the right area now. To add another to the €30 VED road tax jibe, my 1.4 TDCi Fiesta is £30 a year, and my 2-litre TDI Octavia VRS is only £30 a year. It's also only £30 a year. £273 fully comprehensive insurance. I hate you. Simple as that. That's it. I have no more words to say about road tax, because we get absolutely murdered here on road tax the whole time. It's mental. Lewis Patterson's joined the first stream. First stream he's ever been in. Good man, Lewis. Good to have you. First good news in the used car market. We'll see about the used car market, how that develops over the time. I'm waiting to see what happens next. I'll try and make a video on what it means to dealerships out there. I'd like to get the reaction of dealerships, because I think it'll be ignored. I think to some degree things will be ignored and nothing's going to come of it. But we'll see how that pans out in the years. We are massively over time. Thank you very much for joining. It is 4:10 now at this stage. More than 2 hours we've been here. But you're very good. I have tried to answer every single question. I'm sorry if I missed your question. I'll be back on again next week. Or I'll be on TikTok if you want to ask me questions there as well. Either one is fine. Andy McAfee has linked the Facebook group that we run on the Sunday Service. If you want to join that, we're going to arrange another watch party as well on Amazon Prime. If you want to pay for a 30-day, or not pay for, but 30-day free trial you can get on Amazon, you can join us there some night. Lovely little chat window appears up on the side. It's quite cool. It's quite nice to have you. Still 277 people here, which is an amazing amount of people to be still here after 2 hours. We've had 635 playbacks today, which will probably go up over the next few hours. You're absolutely fantastic to join. Please mind yourself for the rest of the week. Don't go wild. Don't go crazy. Maybe give a day off for your liver. Get some exercise. Get some sunlight into your bones. You'll have a good time out there, I'm sure. I will return as normal next Sunday for another Sunday service, and you can get in touch with me on various things if you want to get in touch with me. My DMs are always open if you're in trouble or you feel pushed around a bit. Facebook is there too. Our Sunday service group is on Facebook. Post in it. Ask questions. The people there are really, really nice. And it's a good little place to hang out if you want to do that. Or here on YouTube if you want as well. I'll put up a video over the next couple of days of not only the taxes, but I have the Yaris GR is also filmed, and a Toyota Corolla, and I have a couple of other videos sitting there in the background as well that I can put up. So relax, we'll have plenty to watch and do, and it's all lovely. Thank you very much for joining me, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side. Hello TikTok.